What?
Guest host. We got a guest host today.
Okay.
He wants his time in the spotlight. Looks more like he wants on Quinn's lap, but whatever. Hey, big guy.
Who wouldn't?
Oh,
Roll the
boy.
intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Bitcade. This is episode 10. 10. My name is Ryan E. Moore, but joining and also co-hosting alongside with me is the one and only Quinn.
The one and only Quinn.
One and only.
I mean, does anyone else have your last name? That's named Quinn.
Yeah,
My mom.
That's named Quinn?
Yeah, your mom. Your mother named.
If you didn't know, I'm actually Quinn Anthony Vettis the third. So
Really?
No.
God, I hate you. Okay, and David down there at the very far end as well.
Yep. I am not the one and only because there is another. I am named after somebody, so I am not the one and only.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, my name is really common. Like, there's a golfer, Ryan Moore. There's also a BMX or motocross guy named that. So that's why I took the Twitter handle Ryan A.E. Moore, because there's no one named Ryan Allen Edward Moore. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bitcade. Hopefully I'm in frame. I know you two are. What?
The timer.
That's for topics. This is the
mind.
intro. David.
Find that.
David, you just broke the
don't-
wall.
I know. I don't even know if that's on camera. Anyway, this is Bitcade, Primal Target's official video game podcast. Yeah, it's good. I think we got three really good topics. We got. What do you want to call it? Do you want to go with this one? This one's more of like a shorter name.
Well,
for
we
YouTube
should go
title.
by. It should. Be
I know,
ordered.
but is that what you want it to be called?
No, it should be My Video Game Life.
Okay.
That's what it should
My
be.
Video
All right.
Game Life.
So we're gonna talk about Quinn's video game life,
Well,
as well as all of
yeah.
ours, and then we're gonna do what games have we been playing. But the first topic is, because of the SNES Classic coming out, we are talking about classic throwback consoles. So, my question to you guys is, if you were to pick any console,
handheld, anything, doesn't matter.
any console,
anything video
what?
game related.
It doesn't have to be Nintendo, just anything.
Yeah.
What would you want a classic console of, and what 5 games definitely need to be in there? And there's no restrictions. So there's no like Rare owns the property and Microsoft's owned by Rare, so there's no Diddy Kong racing happening on an N64. If you want that, it can be a part of that. There's no contracts. Your dream console, throwback console, 5 games you would put on there. You want to just go down this way?
Yeah, sure.
So David, what game console would you choose, and what 5 games would you put in there, and maybe a special thing you'd want inside that thing?
Well, I think it's probably no surprise to our viewers which one would be for me, which is gonna probably be next year's console. If they continue this, is gonna be the 64.
Okay.
I would like to see the 64, little itty bitty 64 with that little. I even want to have a cartridge that I can pop open and like see the little red bit. That would be like.
Maybe it's just like a part of it.
Yeah,
like,
no, like
it's
it
just
doesn't
the
pop
cartridge
out.
is
It's
in there,
just-
but it's gray.
Well,
It says Nintendo on it.
No, the little where the expansion pack went.
Oh,
that little pop that I could
okay.
pop open and there's just like a little red thing there. Just be like, yeah, this is where that went. I'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
That's like, you know, things like that get me. Like when I opened up the Dark Souls board game, and you open it up, first thing you see is this cover sheet that says "You died." I just was like, oh, the flavor is so good. But it would be the 64.
Okay.
I don't know, because the control, I don't know how they would package it well with the controllers, because they're just a mess.
Yeah.
In terms of design, I mean, they're comfortable and they function and they work, but in terms of like packaging them, like the box is gonna be huge. But for me, it would have to be the 64. Games. When it comes to games, the number one for me, and I know they probably won't be on there, would be, and I'm clumping these two together because they're basically the same game.
Hey, they put Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 in.
Yeah.
So you can
but I'm clumping
together.
these two together, which is GoldenEye.
Oh, as
64.
for your 5.
Well, no, in part of the 5 games, but
Yeah.
these two games are so similar, like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Okay,
I would
okay.
kind of count those games as basically the
Yeah.
same. I would write if one of those were on there, I think that would be great.
And one of them is made by Rare.
Yeah, no, they're both
made by Rare. That's right. Perfect Dark
made
is
by
Rare. Yeah.
But a movie studio, the studio that owns the rights to GoldenEye is why you don't see that GoldenEye on like Rare.
Oh yeah, Rare Replay. Yeah.
So, but I know it's probably neither of those would probably go on there. But I feel like not having that on there would, like, that game. Those games, especially GoldenEye, were console sellers, hands down console sellers. After that, I would have to go with Diddy Kong Racing
Because it's better than Mario Kart.
I still think it's the best kart racer out there.
Yeah. May it rest in peace.
I
had it for 64. We can have a Diddy Kong Racing tournament if we want to.
I remember. I love that game so much.
I've never played that game.
Oh,
it's so good. It's
So
like
good.
it's.
You got Conquer. You
Yeah,
got
I mean,
Diddy
it's
Kong.
got every-
Before he went M-rated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was who I played too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before even Conquer was a
I
thing.
played the
That's what's
turtle
cool.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what his variant of why he was there.
I don't
think he's just
remember
a
his
friend of Diddy
name,
Kong.
Because
but-
turtles are cool.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a mouse that
Mm-hmm.
kind of looked like
bow on her head.
She was a girl.
Yeah, the little dress.
Yeah. There's a crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Banjo was in the game.
Banjo. And that was when Banjo like had his own game coming
Yeah.
out. Like he was in the game knowing that he was gonna get another one. But yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, that game, my brother and our friends, we spent just as much time playing that as we did on Mario Kart. But for me, Diddy Kong is the better of the two.
Yeah.
Personally, especially one of my favorite maps on there was for the multiplayer, the Battle Royale mode, where you're
Trying to pop the balloons kind of thing.
I think it was like shells. I don't remember. No, yeah,
No,
was
it's
it balloons?
balloons, yeah.
It was balloons like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But-
No, they had balloons first, I believe.
No, Mario
I
Kart
thought
had
they
balloons.
had balloons.
No,
Oh, okay.
Mario Kart had balloons.
I guess they had balloons too.
Because weren't they like yellow with like red
no.
zigzag around the end? I don't remember.
No,
what they were.
balloons were power-ups. I don't know what you were trying to pop in
I don't
battle
remember
mode.
either.
But I know battle mode was was intense.
It was good, yeah,
Yeah.
because you had airplane battle mode, hydroplane.
There was
battle mode,
there was
and
an
the
egg
kart.
collecting one.
There was
so
like
there's
mini
like
games.
different.
Yeah, you go and collect eggs
multiplayer
and put them on
versus-
from the nest, and you got to take them to the zone.
Yeah.
And it was just my favorite map was like the ice pyramid, where you're inside like an Egyptian pyramid, but it's ice, and so it's really slippery and it's layered with levels that you can jump up and down and off of.
Yeah, because almost every map had at least two different vehicles you could race, and there were hovercraft, race car, and plane.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I was
good game.
bummed that we never got a second one. I really was.
Hey, who knows? Well, I mean, we won't get Diddy Kong now because it sucks because Rare, I'm sure, would be more than happy to make another one of those games, but because it's Diddy Kong,
Probably Conquer's
that's the only
racing game.
Well,
Or
yeah, you could
Banjo.
do Conker's kart game or
Yeah.
whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do Diddy.
After that one, I think my third choice, Rogue Squadron. That was one of the one of the first 3 games that I 100% and got all the platinum, because you would get rated. You get bronze, silver, gold, and platinum ratings for completing the levels. And that was one of the first games that I got all platinums for each map on. I remember unlocking the Naboo fighter, which was like this big like super. That was like your like end game like.
The Naboo
Congratulations!
fighter.
It was a good. It was a
game.
good. It was a good plane.
Mhm.
You could use it on maps. So you could use like the A-wing or
Yeah.
or like the Naboo fighter, and it was really nice. But that was a game that I spent a ton of time just by myself just playing, and I mean playing those maps over and over again just to get those platinums, because like you screw up one thing and you restart.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
After that, I would have to put on 1080 snowboarding.
I actually have that.
Yeah.
I've not played it, but I bought it because of for an event.
Yeah. I used to play that game a lot as well. I used to always play. I don't remember his name, but it was the guy who was the top speed. I think it was the black guy with the white coat. And I just would go for speed. I never really did the tricks.
Mm-hmm.
I just would, bam, down.
Gotta get to the end.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. Exactly.
After that, for me personally, I would put on Operation Winback. I know I talked about that at a previous episode. That's one of my favorite games on the N64 of all time. It's so good. If you have a 64 and you ever come across that game in a secondhand store, or if somebody says, "Yeah, I have it. You want to borrow it?" Play it. It is a gem on that console that came out really late in its life cycle, and it got really good reviews. It just was nobody really bought it.
Yeah. Probably would have been better like if it came out. What is that 64? Was it 64 the GameCube? What was after 64?
It went 64 and then GameCube.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
So weird to think that those were the two that
Mhm.
like you went from 64-bit to like just regular resolution on discs and stuff. Yeah, that's interesting.
Miniature discs though.
Yeah.
Little bagel discs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those
Bagel bite discs.
those for me though are my top 5.
Those are good. Those are good games.
I would probably also like to see Wave Race on there. Loved Wave Race. I used to do the little there's like a little trick course you can go on. I used to be able to like do like side flips this way and then a second flip normally, and I used to I killed that game. I was really good. But that would be it for me. I feel like those if they were on there, I'd be happy. I know some of them won't because of licensing reasons and all that kind of stuff. But if Perfect World, that would be it.
Those are definitely some good picks. I agree with like a lot of those games.
Yeah.
The ones I would say I wouldn't, it's just because like I don't know the games. But like Diddy Kong being on there would be great.
I think you being your Gears of War fan, I think you would really get into Operation Winback. Yeah, it's very similar.
We'll have to head up to Seattle and go to like. There's a store up there that I bought. Medal of Honor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have local.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah.
I have Operation Winback. I think my brother has it up in Seattle.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But I think because I went home and asked my brother Ben because he's the one that has R64. And he thinks my other brother has it.
Okay, well there you go.
But that's what I'd pick.
Quinn, what is your console that you would rise from the dead to get one more shot in the limelight?
Unless hurrah!
And what are 5 games that you would go? Or I guess.
Well,
why don't you explain yours and then we'll go from there.
So I didn't have 5 games because I was born after this era of gaming and I played it, but okay.
Is that really after your era?
Well, I was born in 97. The moment I had consciousness was when I was like 4 or 5.
That's
so that's
true,
2002.
That's true. Because
and by that point, it would have been
so
GameCube.
I was already playing games at night.
Would have been.
I was about to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Because sure, I could have played a console like that maybe when I was really young, but I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I wouldn't have had a lot of experience with it. And also, backstory, I already talked about this a little bit, but I didn't have a real console until a lot later, so I relied on going to my friends' houses to play their consoles, and most of the time, they had a lot of Nintendo systems, so like N64, Super Nintendo, and stuff like that. So I got a lot of more experience with those consoles than like PlayStation, PS2, and blah blah blah. Because I guess parents got them the Nintendo stuff because that's more kid friendly.
Yeah, well, everyone called it a Nintendo. Like you had a Nintendo.
I had
or
a
whatever.
Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't.
You were either a Nintendo kid or you were a Sega
or you were
kid.
the other guy.
Yeah.
And so
the guy that. Well, I mean, a lot of people do. Have
other
Sega.
guy.
Well, my dad has Sega. Yeah. Anyway.
The console I would choose is the same era as David's would be the Dreamcast. My friend had one of those, and we play that. There weren't a lot of games. Like, there was a Sonic game we played on it, and I wasn't that big of a Sonic fan, so I didn't really care. But there was this one racing game that I really liked. I don't know if we could get out of the car, but I felt like we could. But we just, for whatever reason, like, our brains at a really young age, even if we thought we pressed all the buttons, like, sometimes we wouldn't be. Like, I don't know how it worked. But essentially, we couldn't... There was a story mode, and there was, like, a free mode, I guess, from my recollection of it. In the story mode, you start off in a garage or something, and there's like no exit if you're in your car. But I think the way to get out is you'd have to get out of your car and open the garage doors or something and then get out. But we couldn't get out of the car, so we're stuck in the story mode at the very first part. So we did free mode where you just drove around. And I remember my friend, he had his grandpa over, and he was like, "Dude, you drive like a drunk guy." Because I was like crashing into the walls. Because one thing that I'm really bad at is racing games. I cannot steer well because here's the thing: when I drive, it's just there's no drifting. There's just pedal to the metal. There's no braking. There's just forward. There's forward.
Go. Just go.
Exactly. There's no. If there's a train that's coming, I better be going faster than that train.
Oh, so you live your life 1/4 mile at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. I mean, I'm not saying rest in peace to Dom. I've seen Fast and the Furious. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that.
And so the games that I would kind of want, since I didn't have a whole bunch of memories with that console, but they're games that I think are kind of cool as I've grown up.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to, if I had the chance to get a Dreamcast or something like that, is like Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, because I haven't played the original. I've only played Future on the Xbox. And then, of course, you have your Sonic games. I thought that would be like a staple on the Dreamcast, and that's whatever, you know. And then Phantasy Star, and because one of the things with the Dreamcast is it had like online capabilities, and Phantasy Star was like MMO-esque thing, and that blew my mind about when I found out about that, because I played Phantasy Star Zero on the DS, and it was sort of like that, and the graphics were really good on DS.
I've only played Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh,
Did you ever play Universe?
That's
There was a
Xbox
there was a demo,
360?
on Xbox 360 that you could play all the way to level like 12, and then after that they'd cap you, but you could still run around.
But
and do
you
stuff.
could still do stuff.
Oh my gosh, there was some stories that I could tell about Phantasy Star Universe.
Did you have like a good time even though you were capped at 12?
There was. It's more of because you could go on a server, and the servers had so many people on there. It was like probably the most I've ever seen on there. But you could communicate with your people. I never was this person. I know somebody that that paid money to get pictures from some other person. I don't know. I've never done it, but I know someone that personally did that, and then I know someone that made fun of that. And probably the funniest thing, where it was. Oh God, I can't. I don't even really want to quote him because it'd probably like call him out. But it's no one that you've seen on videos here. But it's the funniest thing, like that someone actually did that, and they do it. You'd pay in-game currency to do. It was literally Second Life on Xbox. Like that was what it was.
You paid money to get like.
I did not.
I know you didn't.
I want to go
like,
clarification. I did not do that.
People paid money to other people to get like real photos of them, or
yes.
Oh, that's weird. See,
they would be sent through Xbox.
Back in my day, we would just
you can get
have
messed
the
up on
characters
that.
do that to each other. that was back in my day.
I'm older than you.
Okay, but come on now.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to go on that a little bit because it'd probably never get brought up again. So I just want to.
Thanks for telling us your story about.
No, not me. I want to go on clarification. Not me. It was someone I knew that he and his cousin.
Someone very close to you.
Yeah. Yes, someone very close, and then he was very proud of it, and I was like, "How? Wait, you can do that on here?" And he's like, "Yeah, I gave him Xbox points, Microsoft points to do that." And I was like, "What?" And then his cousin, no, I can't say who his cousin is. Never mind. But his cousin said like, "Why would I pay for pussy if I could see him?" or something like that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But that's that's that little story. So you could do it. You could do it on there because they had the little Xbox camera, and you could take pictures and video chat people and all that stuff. That was before the what you call it, the Kinect. So just want to let you know. Hate to bring it down.
Glad I didn't play that version of the game.
Or no, I'm just joking.
But yeah, that would be my sort of my retro console resurrection miniature thing.
Would be Phantasy Star.
No, well, that would be. It would be the Dreamcast.
So why Shenmue? Because you didn't say that one. Why?
He did. He mentioned.
He said it, but why?
Why Shenmue? Because that's a game that everybody always talks about as having like a really good story, and there's only 2 of them, and everybody. It's like what's that game with Gordon Ramsay or something like
Half-Life?
that? Half-Life. Yeah, everybody wants a third game.
No,
in
that
the
was
series.
that was one of the first games to come out where it would really emphasize on like focus and the amount of content you can do in a game. He's thinking Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like,
I'm
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This crab alien is terrible.
Yeah.
Would you have liked that game if he was the main
Yeah, I would have loved it. Who wouldn't play a Gordon
You just
Ramsay
take
mod?
your crowbar right here.
Okay,
and you just
computer
smash it.
specialists, if you guys can somehow make a mod of putting Gordon Ramsay in Half-Life, that would make it amazing.
Yep, there you go.
That would fix all your problems.
It would
with
make
the game.
it would literally fix everything about that game I don't like.
Huh?
Okay.
There we go. It's your turn.
Mine was going to be the 64, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, the 64 was something I grew up on, but I didn't have that many games, and mainly all the games I would list off would be like Diddy Kong, Super
big
Mario,
ones.
Super
The
Mario
big
64. Like I didn't have very many
Mhm.
64 games, so I picked the PlayStation 2 because I feel like that's the one that like I actually was wanting games to play on. One of the games I'd want is Destroy All Humans. Destroy All Humans is one of my favorite games. It's actually one of the
That's
very
the alien-
few
it's
games.
like the alien
Yeah,
one,
so you
yeah.
play as an alien. I think his name's Spike or something like that. I can't remember. I haven't played it in a long, long time. I've actually been looking for that game for a very, very long time. And I feel like that's a really good third-person open world type of game that could like bring out an elements of this kind of stuff and a really cool story of like 1950s or 19. I think it's 1950s. Because I think the second one takes place during the 70s or something like that.
Mhm.
And then the ending was like the first twist ending I've ever experienced. Like, everyone, what? That's the... And then, so Destroy All Humans, one of my favorite games on PlayStation 2. Medal of Honor Frontline, actually just recently got this. I actually bought it at PAX for $4. And they... You know what? Shout out. Pink Gorilla. They're the reason why I got it for that price. Where I've been trying to look for it, and... I did see it cheaper at a pawn shop, but I wouldn't have even thought to walk into a pawn shop to find a game like that. But it's also because they had a few copies, which is interesting too. I've never seen that game in a long time other than at PAX in there. The third game.
Medal of Honor, that's the one where you start on D-Day, right?
Yeah, so he's like,
I remember-
Patterson, get over
Yeah,
here. Like,
I
it's
remember
such a memorable, like,
Yeah.
holy
I
crap
remember
moment.
I remember that level blowing my mind.
Yeah.
when
I
it came
really want to
out.
play it as a PT plays.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those games I want to play as a PT plays because it's just like that beginning part is so intense that you're like, I'm in Saving Private Ryan, or like
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in
yeah.
this
I agree,
scene
100%.
that was like I've seen in movies. I've looked in history books, and now I'm experiencing this that was the first
Yeah.
time I ever experienced something like that. And then I thought I'd throw in this one because it has all the elements that I really like. I've just never really sat down and played it. I think Kingdom Hearts should definitely make it into a PlayStation 2 thing, especially since Sony loves pumping out remakes of that thing.
Yeah.
And
2.8?
yeah, exactly. 2.897422824. Those are not my phone number. There's but Kingdom Hearts is like one of those games that I'd really want to like go back. I really want to just like.
How
sit
many
down
have
and
you
play.
played?
I've just played Kingdom. Well, okay. I played 364 over.
Oh, 358 over 2?
Yeah, you see how dumb those names
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
That one on the DS because I was getting my wisdom teeth pulled out, but I only played it for like 2 days and then I was done.
That's my favorite one, actually.
And then I've seen my friend, one of my friends play Kingdom Hearts from beginning to end in one night. Like he just played it through, and he could do it. Just he knows where everything's at. So what does that tell you about that game? But but it has like it has Disney stuff in it. It's like I want to play Kingdom Hearts because it just has all this stuff I like about it. And it's like I don't know,
Unfortunately, to me, was the turnoff.
That's
for
my
me in
turnoff,
that
too,
game.
because it has
Yeah.
the Disney characters in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like what I really like about the fact that it has the Disney characters was the worlds that you would experience. Like you actually got to see different parts of the world that never were explored in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you went to when you played in Hercules is pretty early on. So and a pretty iconic one where you have to do all the challenges and then you have to face all the people and then you meet somebody that you may know. But like you get to battle in this Coliseum that like you didn't really see Coliseum. Like you saw them in the background. You never really went into them or walked around and do this kind of stuff. You had this 3D environment and stuff. So that's why I would say Kingdom Hearts. Another one is God of War. I think God of War being not in a PlayStation 2 classic would be a sin because that game, obviously, it's continuing on all the way to the PS4. It started with the PS2, which a lot of people forget. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
didn't know that,
it's
actually.
crazy that, God of War has gone from PS2, PSP, PS3, and PS4.
I'm surprised in its life cycle, or in the PlayStation 3's life cycle, they only had one God of War game on it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I thought that was
yeah. And even with
because they had the HD remakes on
PSP
it. But,
got more games of God of War than the PlayStation 3 did.
yeah.
So other than remakes, like if you don't count the remakes, obviously there's the HD collection which comes with 1 and 2, and then there's like a whole HD thing that comes with like the God of War 1, 2, and the 2 PSP games. Because I think there are 2 PSP games, if I remember.
I didn't know
correctly.
there were PSP games.
Yeah, there is a PSP. There's Chains of Olympus. I can name
okay.
one of them, but I don't know
Okay.
if there's a second one. But anyway,
I beta tested that game.
yeah,
Back
I
when-
played Chains of Olympus demo on
Back when-
PSP when I got one.
Back when a beta test was an actual beta test.
Yeah.
Sony sent me this little pamphlet. It was really cool. I still have it. It's probably in my storage tub and thing, but it's really cool little pamphlet. Beautiful artwork on it.
Why do you hang it up?
I never bought the game. I didn't
Oh.
I didn't get into it enough.
Okay.
I played it. I played through it. I gave Sony my feedback on it, and it wasn't for me. I could see the appeal of it,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't something.
They actually seek out more of your opinion than somebody like my dad who has played God of War.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure it's killed him from not being able to play the other God of War games because he played 1 and 2. Like when 1 he beat that in like a couple days, and he's one of those people that when he beats it, he'll keep replaying it over and over again.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it so you guys can see it. It's really cool. Like it opens up, the game is in there. There's some paperwork that came, like legal paperwork with it.
Is this God of War?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Beta test God of
this
War.
was like a PSP one. Okay,
No. This is the
You
very
know.
first one. I
Yeah.
beta tested the very first one, and it had some legal paperwork in it, basically saying, "Hey, it's not okay to sell this game." And all this kind of, we had, legal ramifications.
Yeah, the
and all,
bad
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. But yeah,
So you got a test copy?
yeah.
How far did it go?
It was just the first section of the
Okay.
game. It was like the Hydra battle.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
the
boat.
first thing you do. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that. It was and I played the crap out of it because I tried to find as many bugs in as I could because I wanted to help. So.
Yeah.
But like I said, it wasn't.
How
my
did they email you? Did you like go onto a website or something?
Yeah, no, they back then. You had an email address. I had my email address, I had my password that I go into on the PlayStation website, and they would ask me. I would send in like video game ideas if I had them, all these other kind of things, and I beta tested Monster Hunter, the very first Monster Hunter as well. I beta tested SOCOM 2.
You probably are in the credits for God of War because they put beta.
I
testers in there.
have no idea.
That'd be awesome. That'd be freaking cool.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
So my last one was gonna be, Smackdown. Here Comes the Pain.
Smackdown.
And the reason why I changed it to SmackDown versus Raw is because SmackDown versus Raw was still just a PlayStation exclusive, which I'm just going off of what the internet said, so I didn't. It was a quick search. So if it isn't, here it is anyway. SmackDown vs. Raw deserves to be on the PlayStation 2 Classic because wrestling games were a big deal on the PlayStation 2, especially since SmackDown had several sequels on the PlayStation 2, and it just kept getting stuff. Raw was on Xbox, but there was only, I think, 2 Raw games, and then there were pay-per-view ones. So there's like WrestleMania 20 and No Mercy and all this stuff. And those would come to the GameCube and stuff like that. But predominantly, like when you look back, PlayStation 2 really had a lot of the wrestling games. And there's something about the wrestling games, even if you're not a wrestling fan, as soon as you pick them up, you know what to do. Like you have to beat the crap out of the other guy. You don't know how you're going to do it. You'll figure it out. Like nowadays is a little different because there's a lot more like technique stuff. But I think SmackDown, the reason why SmackDown versus Raw over SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is because, yeah. The reason why, because SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain was the like the last one that was called SmackDown, and then it became SmackDown versus Raw, which collided obviously the two worlds of SmackDown and Raw, which the two shows that WWE has is SmackDown and Raw. And at the time, that was a big deal because, you know, during the Attitude Era, so WWE does all these eras. The Attitude Era was coming to a close, and you kind of had this reckless aggression era is when I started watching. And that's when people like John Cena started showing up. That's when Evolution was kind of disbanding and becoming different people. So Batista was starting to become his own name. Randy Orton was starting to come up and rise. So you got all these names that are kind of becoming who they are. I'm probably just saying names now for people that aren't wrestling fans. But during SmackDown vs. Raw, there was some really cool elements that began a long tradition of these games from having the two different shows. So they started doing like a story mode. They had so many features. Like the way that THQ was making these games was they just kept adding a whole bunch of stuff, and somehow the disc kept holding all of these things. And by the end of SmackDown vs. Raw, I mean, it kind of became a watered down version, which is the downfall of THQ, not just a lot of their games. But I think this one had general manager mode. I can't remember. I know, but SmackDown vs. Raw had this awesome start to what wrestling games, like legitimately, like anyone could really pick these up and love these games, even if you aren't a wrestling fan or you are a wrestling fan, but you don't keep track of like who's on what and who are these new guys. Like, and it's kind of like I'm gonna relate this way. It's kind of like Pokemon, where you learn Pokemon names through the game. So like there are wrestlers that I didn't watch Raw as a kid, but I watched SmackDown. So like I knew who the Raw people were based on the games. Like I knew who Triple H was because he's in the game still and all these things. But anyway, that's just kind of a tangent. But I think so. Wrapping it up, Destroy All Humans, Medal of Honor Frontline, Kingdom Hearts, God of War, and SmackDown vs. Raw. Those would be really cool games. I know that like obviously SmackDown vs. Raw doesn't need to be in the classic thing. I just know that based off of like history of things. Yeah. Medal of Honor would be a really cool first-person shooter game that would be in there. God of War, obviously a PlayStation title. It would be stupid for them to not put it in there. Kingdom Hearts makes total sense, but it's a huge game to put into this PlayStation 2 classic. And then Destroy All Humans, obviously is owned by THQ. Well, no, it's not anymore. Can't remember who owns it now. But anyway, yeah, Destroy All Humans is like in this limbo of like it was bought before THQ was in the hole, so like someone else owns it now, and like they have to make it in order for Destroy. But I've heard it's not too far out of the question. I keep hearing rumors every so often. But anyway,
when you were talking about your wrestling game, it reminded me of on the 64. I used to play the crap out of WWF WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah.
And there's I would spend hours just making characters.
I've seen that game a lot. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Character creation and like all these things. That was. I love they that get game. So in depth.
I love that game.
Yeah. See, I told you wrestling games are really fun.
Yeah. And that was back. Yeah, because that was back during the. Was it the Attitude Era with like Generation X and.
Well, so Degeneration X kind of. Yeah, I guess they. It was during that. Yeah. When, I think a lot of people consider the Attitude Era like where Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock are. So once those that time frame. Yeah. Once those two guys are involved, then that's the Attitude Era. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Reckless Aggression is when I usually say when John Cena is like a part of it.
Yeah, because that was back when I watched wrestling. Was during that period when
a lot of people watched it during that.
I've never seen a match with John Cena, or I stopped watching before he was a thing.
Yeah. I started when Cena was starting, and then that was when I don't know, he was on SmackDown, so it was easy to follow, and like a lot of the big names were on SmackDown, and now it's kind of vice versa. Now a lot of people go to Raw.
I remember I was watching wrestling before SmackDown was even a thing.
Yeah,
it was SmackDown, or it was Raw on Mondays, and it was something else on Fridays, and then that eventually be changed to like
there was
SmackDown on Thursdays.
Monday Night Nitro was on Mondays.
I thought that
as
was
well.
WCW.
Yeah, I know. That
Yeah.
was the battle between
Yeah.
Mondays. Then they were at the same time.
Yeah.
So you either chose to watch Raw or you chose to watch Monday Night Nitro.
I
So it
watched
was like,
back then.
Who do you choose? Do you
I
choose
watched
WCW or
I
Raw?
watched
Or-
Nitro back then.
Really? You were
Back then.
WCW?
Back then, yeah. Before
Did you watch the end of it when WCW ended? Okay.
No,
When you
I-
found out
I-
Shane McMahon was the general manager, and then they just
no,
collided?
because of the video games, I eventually switched to WWF because like I played WCW and WCW, and then there's WCW versus NWO. And,
That's interesting. Okay.
And then there was, or what was it? Was it No Mercy? No Mercy was a.
That's WWF.
It was WWF.
Well, it's WWE now, but yes, at the time that would be
Because there was another one that was because there
least
there
I
were
think.
on the
I think they've always
64 there were 2 WCW games, and then there was WWF WrestleMania, and I didn't get into the WWF till I had WWF WrestleMania.
And then there was also ECW had a game too.
Yeah, those were terrible.
ECW Hardcore.
Those were terrible. I
Yeah,
tried
it
playing
was
those.
just- they're not good.
The controls were terrible. Anyways, we're a little off topic.
Welcome to
But-
the official wrestling podcast.
the official wrestling video game podcast.
Dude, I
from
would
15
totally be
years
down
ago.
with that. Dude, WWE 2K18 is coming to the Switch, and you better darn believe I'm buying that game for the Switch. I'm just saying. There's a lot of game happening in there, and it'd be awesome to have that on portable. Because I had SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on the PSP, or 2006, but I think 2007 was when they were like, that's the peak of SmackDown vs. Raw. But they had general manager mode, and oh my god, that was so cool because you ran SmackDown. You drafted people. This is how cool it was. Like, you drafted your show, and then you organized who you were gonna put in and who was gonna be the bad guy. So in my mind, as a kid, as sixth grader, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, John Cena's come out and he's talking to Randy Orton, and then they're yelling at each other because I'm like, schedule a promo. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, these guys are hating each other for now. And then, yeah, it was awesome. I don't know. It was so good.
Back to topic.
Yeah.
But that's it for you.
That's
PlayStation
it.
2.
PlayStation 2. You had the Dreamcast.
Yep.
You had the 64.
64.
That's going to be it. Make sure you comment in the comment section below what you want to be brought back from the past and get
And
another
your 5
shot.
games. And your 5
And
games.
your 5 games. That'd be
Yeah,
cool
let
too.
us know. And you don't have to be popular. Just whatever you liked playing. It's
No
whatever you like.
restrictions.
Yep. No limitations. Only your imagination.
And we're moving on
All right.
to our next topic. Next topic. Quinn, what is your topic?
This is the video game life topic, where you choose these are all video game characters that you have to choose, and it's your best buddy from a video game, so it's someone that would be your best friend set for life, and you only get to choose one, so you gotta choose wisely. The person that you'd marry in your life, out of any video game. And these can be from separate video games too. They don't have to all be from the same video game, same universe or whatever. It's just like they're here in this world
Sound effects.
with you. And then this category was a little harder to find. It was because this was along the lines of like the inspiration was like the sex, marry, destroy, kill, destroy, build, destroy.
Yeah, like the high school like F, marry, kill.
Yeah,
like this.
that
That was where
sort
it
of
was
thing.
built
Mhm.
off of, and then it's
So
kinda
the
turned
last
into
one is
this
like
stuff.
kill, but it's sort of like the way I wrote it down for myself to sort of get an idea was like kill or like your rival enemy, something that you overcome in your life. Because in a video game, you always got your best friend characters. So Mario always has Luigi, Donkey Kong has Diddy Kong, right? And then I guess this is the old-fashioned way. They're always trying to rescue the princess or something.
Who's your princess in the castle.
And then
Who's the
there's the
villain?
boss that you got to overcome. And so that's my topic. And how did you guys want to do it? Who wants to go first? Or
It was your topic, man. Whatever you choose.
we'll go.
Yeah, go for it, Quinn.
I guess I'll go first.
Okay,
I-
go ahead.
I'm okay with
Go
that.
ahead.
Yeah.
So my buddy, I was thinking really hard about this one because there's a lot of like cool video game friends, but I was thinking like in real life, who would be like a really awesome friend to have? And I chose Mega Man as my friend. So, okay, but here's
Okay.
here's my logic though.
Yeah.
So initially, I was gonna choose Mega Man EXE from the Mega Man Battle Network series because he's the best friend of the main character in that game, and he always like wakes him up and like tells him to when his stuff is like due for school and blah blah blah. I was like, that'd be kind of cool, but he doesn't exist like physically. He's an online entity, so that'd be kind of sucky to have as a friend. Is just like. I mean, he could be in your phone all the time, and he could like he's pretty much like a guaranteed antivirus
Talk
program.
to my friend.
But it would also kind of suck because it's just like you can't interact with him. I mean,
He's like a Tamagotchi.
exactly until they make like physical bodies for androids or whatever that like can actually operate. Then he's just a phone thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, Mega Man's already a robot, so fine, we'll do him because I chose Mega Man because originally he was programmed Yeah, he wasn't programmed to fight. He was programmed to be just a regular house robot. So I was like, well, that's cool. I can have a house robot that can probably like do dishes for me or something.
Just blast them
thinking
clean.
ahead.
I like how he was like, he's gonna be your best friend, and now he's just your
he's gonna
slave.
do your
Like,
chores,
he's
do
just
your
whatever you
dishes.
want him to do.
But at the same time, he has the capability to kill people that you want because he can turn into a super fighting robot and shoot them with his laser gun.
Oh my
And
gosh!
Because I was like, well, if I'm gonna be Batman, I need to have my butler.
Wait, but Alfred never like goes out with Bruce to fight crime.
In my
like,
version of Batman,
Okay.
he is Robin.
it's interesting. That's definitely
That's
interesting.
the version of Batman I read up on.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
And so,
We need to get out of here. Robin, help me. Oh God, my arm. Hold on, let me recover. Go ahead.
the Mary, that's also hard.
I thought this was Harry Potter.
No. Well, because he's not from a video game. He's in video games, but he's not. The original work is not from video games.
Oh,
so that's why.
That's why Harry's not in this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm glad.
I would. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I chose Haru from Persona 5.
Okay.
So she's a girl that you get later on in the game. I just think
That
she's.
you get.
Well, yeah, because she joins your party.
She's the one everybody makes fun of because she's giggly. She like gets giggly.
Who makes
no
fun
idea.
of
In
the
Persona 5?
but like
Well, I
the
remember-
characters or the
Well, I
community?
don't know. I hear like these memes and things of the,
Okay,
of the,
so the
of the girl
community.
from Persona 5 who just her reactions are always like giggly or just like noises.
I haven't gotten that far.
I don't know. In Persona 5?
Yeah, I only played like 25 minutes. of
Yeah,
it.
because he had to get taken back.
Yeah,
or
it's not
whatever.
my game.
That's right.
Um,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Maybe I don't know. I didn't see any memes about that because
I don't apologize.
the
for
thing
my Harry
about
Potter thing.
her character is, I don't. Do you want me to spoil? It's not that big of a spoiler.
No, because I haven't beaten it yet. I'm still playing Persona 5 and I don't want any spoilers. So but you go ahead.
Do you want me to explain like?
Well,
her-
maybe
No,
not
no,
like
no.
As, don't explain story elements.
Well, yeah,
but
it's not story
explaining
elements. It's
character.
just personality.
Yeah.
It's
No,
what
I-
you
go
wouldn't
for it.
expect.
Yeah, I think explaining a
Yeah. 'Cause
character
this is like-
is not a
'cause a
spoiler.
lot of the-
Yeah.
Like if you
'Cause-
explain what a Terminator is, you're like, okay, but that
no.
doesn't tell you what like the.
Yeah.
I'm probably even thinking of the wrong character because this is a character I haven't met in the game
Um,
yet. So I don't.
Well, the
I
only
don't
memes
fully know
I've
the
seen
character.
about her is that she's got a 5 head. So.
A 5 head?
Yeah. Do you know what that
Alright.
is?
Oh, like a 4-head,
Yeah,
but a
but it's
bigger
so
5
large. It's a
that you
5
can
head.
project a movie on it.
Yeah, that's the only memes I've seen about her for it. Is she's got a
Oh my
5 head.
I've never heard of a 5 head, but I can assume, yeah.
So, one of the explanations I always talk about for characters in Persona 5 is they're always based off of archetypes, but they play off those archetypes to trick your initial feeling towards a character for the most part. This is
Yeah.
why I was explaining to you, and you guys can complain to me all you want. I will probably not care. Maybe I will probably.
You'll only
Was
cry
that I
for a
didn't like
couple days.
Yusuke really is because he kind of meets all the expectations I get from first seeing him. Is
Oh,
that I
yeah.
expect him to be like a calm sort of well, not exactly stoic, but kind of calm artsy guy.
Is that the guy we were talking about
Yeah.
in the car the other day? Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
and
I
then-
just unlocked him. Well, I
guess-
just came across him in the game, and I already don't like him.
And what the way it's supposed to defy your expectations is that he's quirky and does weird things, but it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
That's all right, because it's not really his personality. It's just he's weird. He doesn't know any better. I can't really call that as like a personality thing. It's just like, it's like if a kid oh, okay. I was about to say kills another kid.
Yeah, that's
pretty extreme.
I mean, you know.
It's like
That's like diving off the deep end with
you know,
no
it's
water.
like when there's a 5-year-old in the store and they open up a toy or something. They're like not that smart enough to okay, I'm gonna go younger because I'd still beat that kid. A 3-year-old walks into the store, like eats a banana that they see or something like that. They don't really fully understand like it's a bad thing. They don't know what good and bad is. So it's kind of like that's what I think of him, is that it's not really his personality by choice. It's just what he does. That's why I don't really like him. I like Haru because one, her story is really cool. I'm not gonna go into depth about it, but I like her story. It's really awesome. Her personality is really cool. You know, she's chill. She likes. I like a calm life. You know, because I already had this discussion in my head because initially I chose On when I first started playing Persona 5 because. Yeah, you did. But then I was like.
You know what I'm talking about.
But I was like. I don't know. Not that she's like one that would require a lot, but it's just like, I don't know if I wanted to live. Because I imagine with her, I'd be living in a pretty big house. I'd have like a nice car or something and it'd be like that. And I was like, I don't know if I'm fine with those things, but I don't need those things. Yeah. Whereas Haru is just like simple life. And I was like
Chie.
Simple life is a good life. Although I totally didn't choose that option in Persona 4 because I went with the girl that was a pop idol. So
yeah, you went with Rise? Yeah,
but initially
everyone chooses it. Well,
but
okay, because like Chie, the reason why a lot of people don't choose Chie is because she doesn't give you any benefits. Like a lot of people choose the benefit. Okay, so in Persona 4 Golden, I don't know about Persona 5. There's a point where you go on this like snow
items.
retreat.
Yeah,
and this is like you will choose a girlfriend. Like you are done. You're moving on as this one. If you choose Chie, you get nothing. Mm-hmm. If you choose all the other ones,
you get something.
You get some sort of perk. And it was stupid. And I always get to that point and I stop playing. I've never continued on. I don't know why. I've gotten
You've
to the
never
point.
Finished?
I've never finished Persona 4.
You see that the ski trip part isn't in vanilla.
It isn't. Huh?
No,
it's in the show.
I know Persona 5's getting an anime?
Yes,
it is.
I've known that for a while.
They're also getting a whole bunch of spin-off games too.
But it's gonna Persona 5 Dance All Night. Yeah.
But Persona 5, every girl gives you something.
I bet they do.
In that way too, sure.
I mean, I don't know. They didn't do it in Persona 4.
But it's weird though because
hanky panky stuff.
Persona 4, I chose
You're shaking
a quiet lifestyle.
No, there we go.
In Persona 4, I chose quiet lifestyle
Yeah.
because Yukiko was the first girl I liked in that game.
Okay, yeah.
But then Persona 5, because you get the added stuff, and Rise, if you didn't play vanilla, Rise pretty much does nothing to help the party besides navigate.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But in Persona 5, she can buff the party. She helps with all-out attacks. She has all these like bonuses.
Wait a
You
minute.
mean Haru?
No, Rise in Persona. Persona.
I
4.
was like, whoa, is
Persona
there a
4.
crossover?
In Persona
I
4,
did
my
not
bad.
know that would have been a spoiler.
In Golden.
Yes,
Golden,
okay, yeah.
she gives buffs to your all-out attacks.
What's the other girl name? Mary?
Marie.
Marie,
Yeah.
that's right. I never see. She's a different character because like
she was added
in the anime. She's not in the anime.
No,
she's
not
in Golden only.
She's
she
in
was
Golden,
added to
and
that
she's
game.
old in the Golden anime because Golden has its own anime.
But it doesn't. It's not dubbed though, and it's weird.
Oh, it isn't. It's still not dubbed yet.
Maybe it's been a couple of years now, but like I've seen the anime version, and like it's all the voice actors. So like Troy Baker's in it, Aaron Fitzgerald's in it. Like all of those voice actors from the game are in the anime. That's why I really liked it. But then seeing like as soon as I watched the first episode of Golden, I was like, no, I can't do this. I cannot do this. But yeah.
But then I played Golden and I was like, you know what? After all this added content and hanging out, because you get to hang out with more of the characters, I was like, I liked Rise a lot more. Whereas Persona 5, I was like, well, I'm sort of the Rise type.
Yeah,
and I was like, she's really
as
cool.
soon as I saw, I was immediately like, okay, this is definitely.
And I didn't have the stats to even hang out with Haru, and I was like, so on my second playthrough, I was like, well, let's see what, and it was. It was good.
Now, is it just like Golden, where like the relationship pretty much just gets to they finally kiss you and then it's over. Like that's as far as it goes.
Persona 5 does a little bit more with hangouts that you can do when you have them, because there's a bunch of hangout locations that you can choose from. So you can go see, like, there's a
movie theater.
There's a movie
Yeah,
theater.
I was in
There's
4.
you can go watch like shooting stars with people. You can go to amusement parks. You can go to like dating locations. You can
So
go
there's
to ramen
more.
shops.
That's interesting.
And
Because like in Golden, it was just like
Yeah, it was
you
just-
hung out with them more.
Exactly.
And, like maybe a bit of dialogue happens. But
and
like,
so in Persona
or maybe
5,
someone else meets you and you were dating the other person as well. And
Yeah,
that didn't
exactly.
turn out very well.
but in Persona 5, they'll give you a unique dialogue the first time you go there with someone, and then after that, it'll just be like, you hung out with them or whatever.
Okay.
So it's only a few times afterwards if you're already max ranked with them. Well, it also can be before you're max ranked. It's just the first time you hang out with them in that location.
So what about your enemy though?
But I didn't get to
yeah.
explain Haru as to why I thought
Yeah.
the
I thought you
character
have.
trait.
Okay.
No, I do like her. Well, that's why I would marry her, is because she's the quiet life. But explaining David how she betrays types is that she goes crazy in battle. She has like a battle axe and like a missile launcher and stuff for her stuff, for her items. And like one of her things is like she just mercilessly kills the shadows and like gets joy from it and stuff like that.
Gets off on killing all.
Yeah.
Nice.
Covered in blood.
Exactly. She's like, one of the dialogues is like, I enjoy the screams of the shadows or something like that, or like she
When you do like the all-out attack
Yeah,
on
when
her,
you
and
do
she's
the-
doing that little screen pose. That one, yeah.
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 She really it's
Oh, now you know how I feel when you guys talk about Persona 4.
Well, there you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, it's good. I like her a lot. She's a girl that can kill and also cook you a cup of coffee. That's a girl worth keeping.
Yeah, I'll make sure to put that on the checklist there. All right, and who would you?
See, all my things
Be
are
your
about
rival.
killing people. I got Mega Man.
I know. I was like,
Yeah,
geez, what is
yeah.
this dark
I'm
side of
worried
you?
about my life. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta have bodyguards.
Dang, that's a brutal. Okay, I
Yeah.
want to know more
So
about that.
my rival enemy wasn't someone that I thought was really difficult when I played the game. But it was something that was like a very strong presence, was really creepy, and had a lot of symbolic meaning. Was Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2. And
Is he not
Silent
in one?
No, he's only
just in two?
See, a lot of people know from the movies and also from a lot of media, they always see Pyramid Head, but he might appear in some of the later games because he's sort of become the mascot of
Yeah.
Silent Hill, but he was originally only in 2 because a big part of Silent Hill is psychological horror, and it's supposed to be Silent Hill, also hell, is supposed to be a manifestation of your own personal hell. So it looks different based off of your own fears and what your own, because people who go there pretty much are people who have sinned or committed some type of wrong or feel really guilty about
In the
some things
game,
they've done.
yeah.
And I liked a lot of I thought Pyramid Head was a really cool boss to overcome because it's just like a very alien thing. You don't see its face. It's just like a giant butcher. It has a sword, and it's very creepy. And what it means for, I believe the protagonist in Silent Hill 2 is James Sunderland or something like that. And it's supposed to represent like, I guess his like, I can't fully remember since I haven't played it in a while, the explanation, but it was like his unrepressed desires and masculinity and stuff. And like, how it treats the other creatures in Silent Hill is supposed to be like a metaphor for how he treated his wife and stuff like that.
Like
It's
the
really
mannequins?
weird. Yeah, his mannequins and like, even though it's not
Everyone
technically
remembers
true,
that part.
like a big part of Silent Hill is like what is real and what isn't.
Yeah.
And that includes like events that have happened, and it has probably one of my favorite twists, and also it has multiple endings. Oh, it's so good. It's a really good game. Like one of the endings you can get like a suicide ending. And that can be gained just from like, there's a knife that you get. It's a useless item, but if you view it a lot of times, like you just look at it and read the description or whatever, a lot of times, it's like an invisible meter that's like your suicide meter. So at the end of the game,
What?
you can get the suicide ending just by viewing this knife a lot.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm just.
That's not the only way to get the
Yeah,
suicide
yeah,
ending,
yeah.
but that's one of the ways. And I was just like, that's really freaking awesome.
Do we have
And
to
there's
do
also
PT
another
plays?
one.
I think we have to do.
That would be cool. But there's another one where if you try to help certain people like too many times, you'll get a different ending. That's like you don't move forward, and it's a lot of symbolism in this game.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose Pyramid Head, is because it's like a symbolic enemy that you gotta overcome. And that is my Bud Mary kill. And I went on for a while, but I had to explain a lot.
Good.
It's
Yeah,
all good.
It's good.
All right, who wants to go next?
Your topic, man.
All right, I guess I'll go.
Okay.
For me, I looked at it as, like when we were talking about the topic, I brought it up as like how would like if I was back in high school, who would be my best friend, who would be my girlfriend, and who would be like the teacher that I couldn't stand, that I would be glad to be done with after I graduated. Be like, nope, don't have to deal with you ever again. Pain in my ass. Tired of having to deal with you. I'm done. So. For me, my buddy, best friend would have to be Balthier from Final Fantasy 12. That dude is the man. He is the leading man, as he would say himself in the game. I'm the leading man. What can I say? And all that kind of. I don't remember if he says the "what can I say" part, but like he would always, in situations, he'd be like, "Yeah, I got this. I'm the leading man." And there's a moment at the end that kind of flips that on its head, which makes me kind of laugh. But he's cool, he's confident, he always knows like what to do in a situation. He's a sky pirate, and that's awesome. And I feel like he'd just be a cool dude to hang out with. He's just super chill. He never gets stressed out, doesn't get mad. He plays with guns.
That's a good hobby.
I don't know. I mean, like yeah, I think for me, I just Balthier was just if you've played 12, you will know that he is one of the standout characters. He is probably he's one of the characters that really drives the story in the game. He's the one that kind of just knows a lot. Usually when you need to go somewhere or get something, he's the one that knows where you go to get it and background behind it. He's just a cool guy, and that's he's not very drama heavy or any like you with Haru, like he's just laid back.
Yeah, he's just someone you like to be around.
Yeah, his head's always on his shoulders. He always knows what to do in a situation. And if you've played the game, I think you'd understand. I think people who've played 12 will, because he really is one of the standout characters from that game. Him and Fran are, in my opinion, the best duo in a Final Fantasy series. Because there are other. I know I've brought it up a lot, but in Final Fantasy games, there's some of them usually have a pair in the game, and for me, they're the best pair in the Final Fantasy series. For me. My high school my video game girlfriend or person I would marry, I think if you know me, you already know who it's gonna be.
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No.
No. Even before we started, I'm like, I'm gonna represent, and I'm gonna cook, and I'm gonna put on my hoodie.
Yeah.
And represent.
You can take your jacket off now. If you
I'm
really
gonna
want
take
to.
it off. Yeah, I'll take it off now because it's hot. But it is. Talizora Noraya, Talizora Vosnima, Talizora Vos Normandy.
Her name's Tally. Just go.
We'll just go with Tally. Tally for short. She's one of my favorite characters.
She is a really good character.
Time.
I will tell you, one of the least amount of the person that I spent the least amount of time with.
Why? That's too bad.
Because I chose different people because I already knew based off of what you've told me, kind of who she was. So I was like. Okay, it's kind of like
dialogue is
but
so
it's
good.
kind of like when your friend tells you about like a girl that's really awesome and stuff like that, and I've heard so much about them, and then I go in and I start talking to them. I'm like, okay, I already know a lot about this. So then I just started talking about other people like Jack or Ashley. I started talking with both them, and I was like,
Tally's story herself doesn't really. I love her intro. How you have to go and save her from the Shadow Broker's setup or. The information deal going wrong.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I like Jack's story. It's like you
but her story doesn't really develop till the second game.
Yeah,
She's just kind of a character that's there in the first one after you do the mission to
Yeah,
have
you
her
can't
be part of the-
relationship her.
Not in the first one,
game. Yeah,
no.
you can do it in the second one.
You
though.
do it in the second one,
You
yeah.
definitely can do it in the second one and third one.
God, what is with you tonight and doing it with people?
You've picked characters that have had those options for them. Okay, let's be fair.
but
I'm sure.
If you picked a character from like The Sims, obviously I'm like, yeah, you better because you can. You can do it with
You
them.
make a baby with them.
With Tally, you can. I mean, you can't have a baby. But
Oh, okay,
like,
I was gonna say what?
you can
What?
definitely.
there are scenes.
Yeah,
Yes, there are scenes.
there's 2 scenes. Well,
Yeah.
at the end, like you get the
in
one
2 and
very.
3, yeah.
But like Jack doesn't have one of those.
So
A baby scene?
No, Jack just no. There's a do it scene at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's like because you got
she
to get to
doesn't
the
have
very.
one.
No, Jack. All she does is she just hugs you because she knows that you now care for her,
That's lit.
and
Well,
she's undressed, but like
Jack,
she's not really much.
Jack is very like keeps to her. She's very closed off.
Yeah, you have to
from
keep
everybody else.
bugging her.
Yeah, you have
every
to,
time.
You have to like
to unlock
really.
that ending.
Yeah, you have
And
to
I did.
really like pursue her for
Yeah,
it.
and I
But
did. That's what I chose.
but
Bit it in
Your
the ass on the third one
perseverance.
though.
Your perseverance.
Tally, I love her personality. She's adorable. I think she's funny. I love the voice actress performance of
My
her.
favorite part's when she gets drunk.
Oh,
She gets-
emergency induction. So she's got a straw she's
Yeah.
sipping from, and she's having trouble getting the straw in her emergency induction port in the face of her visor, and she's just sitting here just like emergency induction ports. And she's babbling, and if you did romance her, she babbles on about how, my father never will believe the fact that I'm dating a human. and
Oh,
things
she
like
does allude to the fact that she does like me.
Yeah.
Because I think
Well, the
I
thing is-
talked to her a few times, but I never got too far.
You didn't do the committed. You didn't commit.
No, I never committed.
Yeah.
The only time I ever had to deal with the oh boy was Ashley and
Liara.
Liara. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the only one.
Yeah. In the first game, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
in the first one,
Um.
because they were like,
Yeah.
don't
Well, you
know.
probably didn't know better.
no, I didn't. I was
Yeah.
just being a friend.
Yeah.
Just like in Persona, when you go to hug or comfort someone, and then you end up in a relationship.
Yeah. And I just loved her dialogue options. I loved all the scenes with her.
Mm-hmm.
I just really loved her as a character, and she will probably forever and always be my video game girlfriend.
There you go.
Yeah. Especially the moments when she's drunk are the best. If you haven't seen the scene in the Citadel DLC when she's drunk and you find her on the bathroom floor,
No, I did not get to that point.
you should totally look it up on YouTube. It's so funny. It's so good. As for moving on, as for the character that I would pick that I'd be good and done with would be the Kerber demon from Dark Souls, because that is the Dark Souls boss that has, of all the Souls games, has took me the longest to beat on my first playthrough. Yeah.
Is this the one you were describing with Ashton with me?
Is
Is this the one with the big dragon?
No.
Oh,
No.
no.
That's in
Okay.
Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
That one took me the most times to beat in Dark Souls 3. It took me 8 tries to beat him. Just because the camera angle is terrible. Like when the second he flies off, you lose him. Like your camera, because normally when you lock on to an enemy, you lock on and you'll stay locked on. But when he takes off so fast that the camera breaks, and if you can't find him right away, he's gonna hit you and you're dead. Like that's it. He
That's a really
hits
good
you
mechanic.
and you're dead if you can't see him. And sometimes the problem is he'll be so high you can't angle the camera up high enough to see him. It's not their best boss fight mechanically, in my opinion, and it all comes down to the camera. It's the camera is the problem, in my opinion, in that fight. Once you can because you have to fight him on the dragon, and then you defeat the dragon, and then you have to fight the king by himself, and that part took me. I think when I got to that part, I think that took me like 3 tries to beat him when I got that. But getting to that part felt almost like luck. And I know the Souls games don't go for luck, like it's precision. But the problem is with that fight is the camera. The camera is it's so aggravating. But
He's runner up to this guy.
yeah, because this guy
my
this guy probably took me 50 times.
Oh my
I probably died 50 to 100 times. I don't know, to beat this guy on my first playthrough, and it's the Kerber demon. If you've played Dark Souls, and you don't know who that is off the top of your head, he is the guy where when you're in the undead burg, you go through, you go through the veil, the white haze, through the door. It's the little room, and I will describe this because anybody who knows this room and has played this game will know this room. It's the room. It's the guy with the 2 swords with like the antler head, 2 dogs, stairs in the corner, and a tree. And it's a small room, and this guy's swords can basically, he can basically cover the whole room, most of it, depending on where you're standing. And the big problem are the 2 dogs. If you can't get rid of those dogs like that, just boom, like that, you are not going to win that fight. And the thing is these dogs are just basic, low level, like dogs that you can just wipe out in like 2 hits each. But if those dogs get on you and you don't kill them instantly and he gets to you, you are screwed. Like you're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because the trick is the second you go in, you have to run it. You run past them, and this room that we're talking about is probably smaller than my apartment. Okay, and you have to run to these stairs, go to the top, and then the dogs will run and he walks. So the dogs will run up, and you got to kill those dogs like instantly. If you take just like a second too long, and he starts going up those stairs, you're done. And if you time your jump off, because you kind of have to cheese him a little bit with the stairs, because you run up the stairs, you kill the dogs, and then the second he comes up, he comes up the stairs about halfway, and he'll swing at you. And he swings at you, you have to roll off the stairs, and then that gives you like about 2 or 3 seconds to kind of readjust yourself and get ready to attack him, because the tree is right there. So the tree also kind of gives you sort of like a line of sight, because he'll just walk. He doesn't like go down the stairs. He just walks off the stairs. So he'll just walk off. It's not like a huge fall.
Yeah.
It's like maybe like 10 feet or so. And he just falls off, and then he will you want him to kind of get stuck on the tree, and then you can hit him, and then you just pray you don't die. It is literally the one fight in the whole Soul series. I haven't played Bloodborne yet, but in the Soul series, that I struggled the most. Uh-huh. And the sense of accomplishment that I got when I killed that boss. He is not including the tutorial boss. He is the second boss in the game.
Wow. And
if I remember
so after
right.
that, it's all downhill from there. You're good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that fight was, especially on your first playthrough, and your character, unless you like grind and power level yourself and power level your armor, so they're super good. If you just go in there with your basic gear at your normal level, you are gonna have a hard time.
Gonna have a bad time.
You're just. He's just that boss that just like whenever I think of a boss that just drove me nuts, it will always be him until somebody else comes along. But for right now, it's him. I cannot. It's hard for me to convey like the struggle of trying to beat this guy literally 50 times. And the problem is you die, you have to get back there.
Yeah.
And you have to hopefully not get killed. Yeah. Capper Demon. Glad to be done with.
What grade would you have gotten in his class?
Oh, F.
What class?
And he had to retake it 50 times.
Gym class. Failed every time.
He would have beat your butt.
Would have beat my butt. I'll run all the laps up and down those stairs.
Oh, gee. You would have had
with the dogs chasing me. Yeah. That boss, like that is a boss fight. I want everything. Everybody should at least try, so you can just understand the pain.
The pain and suffering that it is.
Yeah, because it really, on my second playthrough with my character, at a good level with maxed out gear, it took me like 2 tries. But when you're brand new to the game and your character is at the level you should be for where you are, and when your gear is at the level he is tough, and it's because his attack swing is big, the room is tiny, and those goddamn dogs. Because half the time I would die because I couldn't kill the dogs fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, so yeah, it's hard to follow in those. I don't know. For me, it's kind of hard because like I do like a lot of story games, but over the last couple of years, very far and few between. You know what I mean? Just because trying to do Primal Target and the thing I've done before that, it's just like trying to
Eats a
be
lot of
involved
time.
with all of those things. I want to go back. It's part of the reason why I've gone back to do like some games over this last year. So I originally had Dom as my bud,
Yeah.
and
Dom's cool.
and I was like,
He could kill people too.
Yes,
Huh?
he could kill people, but
Yeah.
then I just
Saw him right
the
now.
reason why I chose Dom, but I just started picking him apart, and I mean Dom was a really good friend. He's a really good friend. He's your buddy till the end
Mhm.
of his life that
Yeah.
he chose, but he did give his life for you. And then I was going back and forth between Songbird and Big Daddy, and I went Big Daddy only got there because it'd be cool to have a monster like that thing following you around the whole time.
That
Exactly.
would be a really weird friend to have. I'm gonna be honest.
But like, would you mess with the guy that's friends with the big dude with a drill?
no, but
Exactly. So
Am I gonna start calling you little sister now?
no.
Ryan?
So I think the best thing. Hey, you can control him with one of the
No, yeah,
atoms.
with the-
It's-
yeah.
Anyway, so I chose Songbird, and the reason why, and this is on short notice, so because we don't pick our topics until like here. If I had time, I probably would have picked someone else. But Songbird, because oh man, this is gonna be a big spoiler. Is this okay?
The spoiler.
Okay,
I
here
mean,
it
it's
is.
up to you.
Spoiler alert. Put the thing down
Yeah.
here. Spoiler alert
Yeah.
for BioShock Infinite.
oh shit.
For a game that's
Um,
what 7 years old.
It came out in 2013, I think.
5.
Yeah,
Almost
I
5-ish.
think it came out in
I
2013.
don't
It's an Xbox 360 game. Anyway,
Yeah.
Songbird, he gives his life for a very fraction of a second. Now, he is your enemy for a very long while,
Mm-hmm.
but when you come to find out, Songbird's been protecting Elizabeth
he's
this
just
whole
protecting
time.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
from you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
thinking you're the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's there's this sense of Songbird gives his life to save Elizabeth,
Mhm.
and you're like, you don't know
Mhm.
why Songbird was fighting so hard
Mm-hmm.
until the very end of the game, and it's like man, I don't want to destroy the ending. Like, is it? I mean, it's because of him,
Yeah, I
though.
still haven't played.
Oh, that's up to Quinn then.
I mean,
It's a big spoiler.
it's a huge
Is
spoiler.
it a big part of his character that
No,
No,
but
it's a
this
big part
ruins
this will ruin the game.
story.
Yeah,
This
will
ruins the
This will
story.
ruin the game if you haven't played it, and you have.
It's
any
your
insight.
choice.
I don't want to hear
Okay.
it. It's gonna
Okay.
ruin the
Okay,
game.
so
Yeah.
being as vague as possible, when Songbird dies, you're like, you don't know why
Yeah.
until the very end,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, whoa, because when you go back, because you don't really think about Songbird that much.
No.
Because
You just think, oh,
he's
it's a big boss
in
fight.
blips.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a boss you fight. You have to escape from him. He's literally the first creature you see in the beginning of the game because you're breaking Elizabeth. This is not a spoiler. You're
Yeah.
breaking Elizabeth out of the whole tower that she's locked in. So he's thinking
He's
you're
chasing you down.
he's trying to get you because you took Elizabeth. And Songbird's there to protect Elizabeth the whole time. That's what his job is. That's what he was designed and built for. And you don't know a lot about Songbird. It's just he's kind of around, and then he appears every so often to remind you that he still exists.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of his life, when he goes down to the water, he starts to compress and he dies. And you're like, that's intense. But then you go back and play it through again, and you realize Songbird was there to protect Elizabeth for a very obvious reason that you didn't know for a very long time. And it'd be cool to have a giant bird that's the
That's a giant
steampunk.
bird.
It's a giant steampunk bird,
Mhm.
and his eye like goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
I don't think you have Songbird.
I don't think
He
we
does
have
have
Songbird.
he does have
We do have
a
Big Daddy.
pop vinyl, but it's very hard to find sometimes.
Oh, Songbird?
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
'cause they
at
stopped-
at GameStop you could find him pretty easily, but
We had him at our store for a while.
Yeah, he's a big one.
Yeah,
he's
that they
he's
don't
in a
make
big
anymore.
one.
Yeah, he's a big one.
But yeah, that's yeah, it would be cool to have Songbird. Obviously sticking with the theme.
Could you keep him in your house, or would he be outside?
No, Songbird would probably have to. I mean, he was in his cage. He was in a cage at some point, I think. I don't know. But it's weird because then you start to realize, dang it.
Yeah, just don't.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
So you make a choice. You make a choice. This isn't spoiling. You make a choice in the very beginning of the game with the twins or with the husband and
Are you
wife
thinking
or
about
whatever.
the pendants?
Yeah. So
Those
you get
have
the,
no. Those have
yes.
no meaning.
But
Well,
if you think about it, it kind of does. But anyway, there is a cage and there's a bird, and the reason why it was put in the game is because the developers wanted you, as Booker, to choose what Elizabeth looks like. And so Elizabeth will have a pendant that you chose, whether or not it was the cage or the bird. And picking whichever one, Elizabeth wears that pendant through the rest
game.
of the game.
Yeah.
And she will always wear it. And so that was the kind of like, when you go into depth of that, you kind of relate some other characteristics between Songbird. But yeah, that's I think it'd be cool to have him as my bud. It'd be cool to have a bird like that.
He could fly you.
He could,
places.
and he's very fast.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have to
kind of a
pay
pain in the
for,
ass sometimes.
Yeah.
You won't have to pay
Um,
for planes no more.
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's in the trailer of the game. The teaser of BioShock Infinite was Elizabeth reaching out and you falling, and then you get picked up. And I think that's Songbird that picks you up. I think.
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Now I'm just thinking that was it. Okay, so then anyway, this next one came into two different people. Actually, then it came into the third because then you mentioned Mass Effect. There's two people in Mass Effect that I really, really, really liked. So much so that I think Jack should deserve her own game. I would love to see a story behind that.
Jack and Dax.
But yeah, exactly. That was what it eventually became.
Jack and Miranda.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that game.
Whoa, I can. But then, so
Not
so
that kind of game, right?
I mean, anyway. So Jack was Jack's one of those people that I would be like, it'd be cool, but like I think she'd be great. I don't know. She'd more be a great friend anyway. And then Ashley was a big part of Mass Effect, but I don't think enough for me to like say that's the crush. And then Lara Croft, but the new Lara Croft, because obviously it's Camilla Luddington. But then I was like, it's probably just because it's Camilla. That's the reason why I chose her. I wouldn't ever really want to go on adventures like that. And then I picked Elizabeth, because Elizabeth sticks by you through a lot of crap.
Yeah, she finds you things.
She looks after you. And so Elizabeth is
take
from
you anywhere she wants.
Yeah, she can tear. She can pull tears, so she can go through, which is really cool. There's an Easter egg in the beginning when you see her tear for the first time. She tears to Paris, and during the time of, and it's up of the top part of the movie playing is Star Wars, which is interesting because that game's time setting does not set foot into
right.
But it was just
it takes place before.
It
takes place
way
before Star Wars was released. Yeah.
But anyway, so Elizabeth can do that. She has a special power. But remember, this is me choosing. I'm choosing as for myself, not as Booker. Need to clarify that. So anyway, Elizabeth, I would choose because, she looks after you. She does get mad at you because she finds out you're not taking her to Paris, and she don't like that. But so she doesn't like to be lied to. She likes to be honest.
Gotta have an honest, open relationship.
No, that's not. I don't think that's what she was saying.
Yeah.
Honest. She's very honest. She takes care of you. And because I know I need someone else looking after me for my life to go.
See, you gotta have a bodyguard like me.
I guess Elizabeth could do that, but she really doesn't fight. She doesn't.
Well, she'll give you stuff to fight with.
Yes, she will. And believe me, she makes BioShock Infinite so much easier. Like
if you actually use her,
because like if you go through BioShock, like how really awesome having another person. It's essentially taking that whole element of like, holy crap, I'm out of ammo. And then Elizabeth gets thrown in BioShock Infinite, and you're like, nope, you will never run out of ammo. That's why I kept the pistol the whole time, because I'm like, I never ran out of ammo. So Elizabeth would be like the Mary, I guess, of that whole situation. And then the kill part was very difficult as well, because
You kill her too.
I was trying to figure out who. Because, again, I just don't really know. And then you guys said Titus. And I was like, yeah, that's probably right because it turned me off of a whole franchise.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
I will.
You were done with Final Fantasy.
I just didn't want to play Final Fantasy, and you guys keep talking about it. So it's like I actually have been going through all my games because I've been moving, and so I found Final Fantasy 13 is the one with lightning, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, I do have the first one. Like I have. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to play this. That's on PS3, so I'll have to doink around with that. But anyway, I mean, I just don't know. Like Titus is a terrible person. I just know that. He's too happy for his own good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I just can't really.
You can't do it.
If I say another character, I don't know if I can say it under this roof. You know what I mean? So,
I don't know what you're trying to hint at, so.
He starts with an L.
An L?
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
L. Hold on.
From what series? Oh, I don't. No, you go right ahead. You say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of
of the repercussions in which will ensue.
You're talking about Linkle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. It's part of the. It partly goes into what we talked about last episode was if we were to make a game, what would be terrible of a game and stuff. I just don't really like Link that much. I just don't know, but I know why people like him because they can easily portray themselves as him.
As the hero,
and as the hero
that
does everything right, just to what? Like, what is he? I just don't. But like he, but yeah, like I just don't really know why. So I'm gonna eliminate Titus off of this one, just because for the sake of this one and for the sake of short time of thinking of characters, because I'm sure I can think of a character later on of like, oh, I totally annihilate that person. But like, if I was to pick like probably the most top like. Most people that would probably comment and hate me for it. I just don't like the games just because I like going on a story and hearing that person like throw themselves as a character. Now it's not. I do like characters like Shepard though. Like that's as far as I'll go into like portraying myself as another character. Because like I want to hear a story. I want to know where the story continues on and hear the character, because then I can go, okay, this is how this character acts. So based on, and then if I make a decision like in Mass Effect of like, oh, I'm going to talk to this person and say this thing, that's me talking, but the video game knows I am talking to them now. And so with Link, he just doesn't really do anything. He just kind of goes.
He just stares there and listens.
And then everyone else in the game, kind of. I know you're probably like wanting to say something, but it's. And I'm curious to hear what you say about it. But it's just like when I go up to somebody and they just assume I'm a mute. And like they just talk to me. They talk at me. They don't really talk to me and like give me information. That will like. They're wanting more information from me. They're just kind of going, go do this. It's like, okay. I can't say okay, but see you later, I guess. And I run off and go do my... That's why I just didn't continue on Breath in the Wild. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And again, I do want to go on... I respect all of that franchise. And I know why people love those games. And I know... there are elements of those games that I actually would really like. It's just that's part of the reason why I don't play those games is because it's like, when I have options of playing Grand Theft Auto where it's like this long cinematic, universe of things, or Mass Effect where it's this, you have to talk to everybody. I love diving into characters and figuring out. That's why I love talking to Jack or I love talking with Ashley. It's because a lot of people didn't focus on those characters. So when I talked to them or saved one of them, it was cool to find out information that other people didn't know. And like I got to find out. Like that was, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I would kill Link. I'd kill Link in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Or in a half heartbeat.
Heartbeat. Yeah.
Half heartbeat.
Because you can get a half a heart in the game. Yeah. Is that it? Do you have any
Like
anyone got anything? You guys didn't really talk about my characters. I don't really know.
no, because I think your characters. I think it fits.
I disagree with everything you said. No,
I was assuming if you were gonna say something about Link, but
no, I don't care.
I mean, you like Zelda though. It's like.
Yeah, I like playing Zelda.
So what do you think about Link then? Do you
alright.
agree?
I think.
I'm right.
I think he's.
I
a
wouldn't.
boring character
I
a
wouldn't
little bit,
kill him, but he's like. It's someone that does something. It's someone. It's like because Link has some personality, but not really. It's like portrayed through his actions or whatever. But it's more like because he's silent, so you don't really get a lot of depth about him. It's like an NPC. I don't hate something for exist. I don't hate this lamp for being there.
for being a lamp.
I don't hate that. Like if something was 2 centimeters off from where I would like it or something, I don't hate it for being.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just like. Well, that's life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal with it. When you get lemon.
So when you're saying you put up with him.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious as
like
I don't even think of him as existing when I'm playing him though.
Really?
Yeah, because he's what I control. It's like when I drive a car.
Mm-hmm. You're controlling the car.
Yeah.
That's interesting
To
like put him into that perspective of like not as a character.
Yeah, he's just
and
a
to
tool
put him.
to play
He's
the
just
game.
there. He's just he gets me from point A to point B. You use him to be who he is.
just like I'd use Mega Man.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to our third and final topic. This is your
We're
topic.
getting the head shaking at us right now.
Oh, I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna
It's
happen.
Ryan.
If I
He's the one
said
that
I was like
suggested
signaling and he let me go, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna go. I couldn't do Titus.
I think a rebuttal is gonna happen right here.
Is that what it is? Does he actually talk at something? The only time I know. When does he say that? When can you think of a time he says Link?
I don't know.
You don't know? If everyone said that it was his name was Link, wouldn't some people call him like Buttface McGee, as some people?
Malon calls him Grasshopper.
Okay.
Oh, that's a dumb name. I'm gonna call you Grasshopper because you're wearing green.
Okay. But see, he didn't say it though. Is my
Just because he doesn't have dialogue doesn't mean he doesn't say it.
This is true. I don't know. I just can't.
You think is wrong.
But yeah, I don't know.
And it's your opinion.
But that
what
was
it
my
is.
thing. It was like I just it's what I don't like about Half-Life. It's
Yeah,
like
'cause
I
Gordon
don't
Ram-
like
You don't
It's
like
not
the silent
Gordon Ramsay.
protagonist.
it's not Gordon Ramsay. And believe me, if it was Gordon Ramsay, it'd be a totally different game.
Yeah, you're just not a fan of the silent protagonist, is what it.
Yeah,
you wanna
I
boil it
don't
down
like-
to-
that's
to
why-
the nitty gritty.
That's why in the last episode
You don't like the silent.
yeah, in the
protagonist.
last episode I talked about that of like if
Yeah.
I was to make a terrible game, I would put a silent protagonist in it cuz I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know this person's story. Link just kind of shows up.
Just there.
I mean, in Breath of the Wild, he wakes up shirtless. You kind of wander around, but you do get told things
Yeah.
about your past,
Yeah.
and you figure it out.
A Link to the Past.
Ah, see, there's a segue.
No, we're gonna talk about that game.
No, I don't know.
Okay. What if that was the game I was gonna talk about?
But anyway, we're
All right.
moving on to our third final topic. This is actually the transition.
Yeah. All right.
There we go. We're back
All right.
because we cut. That was the cut. And then
Oh.
we're back. Okay, there we go.
All right.
What's your third topic?
Well, I was thinking it's been a while since we've been talking about actual games that we've been playing. What do we think of them? So I just thought we'd just give like a quick list. Like, what are you playing right now? Ryan, what are you playing right now?
I'm gonna start from the top of the month.
Yeah.
So leading into the month, I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I was
Yeah.
trying to go through all the story mode because I've done it before,
Right.
but I'm going through it on current console, so Xbox One.
Yeah.
I'm playing through all the stories. I'm doing all the side, like I'm doing everything I can.
100% in that
yeah,
single
I'm
player.
finding like the little blue dots. I'm
Mhm.
like the ones that just pop up and you got to go do that. I'm doing those.
Still, is it holding up?
Yeah, it's great. Like
Alright.
I just love how, like literally, it's chance. Like you just drove down the street and a blue dot popped up, and you're like, okay. And I pull over, get out of the car, walk over. They're like, hey man, get a car for us so we can get out of here. And so I'm like, okay, and I walk in, get a car, drive up, we get in the car, and we escape. So there's things like that. Gus. The GTA 5 is just so good of a game. There's a reason why it's $60 still in the game is still out. Because there's that much content in it that I will fully support that it's $60. It's a pain in the ass, but it's $60 for a good reason.
Yeah.
It's like if The Witcher is The Witcher still $60? No, not anymore. The Game of the Year isn't?
The Game of the Year edition you can get for around $40.
Dang. I would say like if that was to continue, like I mean GTA fluctuates, but it still
like, you can
nails
find
on
GTA
60.
on sale regularly.
But like
but
I would think that I mean Witcher would be another one where I'd be like, yeah, if that was $60 all the time, I'd totally be okay with
yeah,
that.
no, so would I, but yeah.
During PAX, I played PUBG for the first time. I played it on the Xbox One and I played it on PC. I played on PC first. I bought it on Steam when we were at BYOC, and so I was like, I bought it and I was playing it, and I was like, this is an awesome game. And then I went over to the Xbox booth and played that there, and a little bit buggy to the point where like I don't know. Like the map was broken, so that was a little annoying. Because like
it is early access.
Well, it's also in kind of alpha, I guess you would say on
PC
Xbox.
Version? Oh, on Xbox.
No. On PC, it'd be technically beta, but on Xbox, it's technically alpha. Because like, and I think they throw you in servers of PC players. Because I was like, how are there 100 people playing this game? Because we're the only ones.
Yeah.
And like Gamescom already happened, so and we like our gamer tags are named E3, like PUBG E3 at whatever. But anyway, I played PUBG on the Xbox. It runs perfect on it. Other than that, like mechanically, you will if you've played PUBG on PC, you will instantly know what to do. The map is the same thing. Like it's perfect. It's other than like the map being broken. Different. Like the controls are exactly what you would think they would be, and they're awesome. And then I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 has been ups and downs. Like I think the fun is kind of taken out of it because now I'm looking at it as a job perspective. So it's like a grind. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to 260 to get the raid going. I'm still 200 at this point, so hopefully by the end of tonight I'll be at 260. I think that they do a terrible job on telling you where you need to go. Like I'll be in an area, wander off, and then they'll go, nope, not that way, and I'll be like, okay, and then I hit the button, like the map button, to see like, is there a dot anywhere? There's no dot, and I'm like, okay. So I run back down the other way, and then they're like, nope, not this way, and I'm like, oh my god, just tell me where I need to go. Like and then it turns out there's one guy still on the map that I have to kill, and I'm like, but what? Why did his? I've like the maps not my friend in that game. If you ask me what the story's about, I have no idea what the story's about. I think there's too far and few between to like tell you what the story is. I will say I do like oh gosh, what's her name? Oh man, she's an AI.
Cortana?
No, it's almost like that. But that's the ghost for you, so you're okay. That's Nathan Fillion's parts when he's playing what's his face. Again, see, this is the thing. Is like I've been playing it for like a week.
Cade 6.
And is that his name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Caden.
It's something like that. K6 or something like that. I don't know.
I thought it was Caden.
I don't know. But he's. I think he's a.
Sure
he's
Caden.
Okay, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Caden.
But he talks.
The hunter dude, right? The hunter, like.
Yes, he's a hunter because he can teleport.
Robot guy.
Yes, he's he's pretty funny. Gosh, I really remember. I wish I can look it up, but I'll look it up during your thing, and I'll interrupt you and say what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's but the AI, there's like this computer robotic thing, and she's bipolar, like because she's like breaking up, like on her, she's like deteriorating on her part. So like she'll say a sentence and then she'll rebuttal with it as like a down, like sad version of herself. She's like, we're almost done with the mission, but we might die. And like she just refers to like those kind of things, and she's really awesome. Like I really like that character style of it. But other than that, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just
Shooting
wandering about. And again, I have a silent protagonist wandering about.
That's
and I'm
you.
like, yeah, I know it's me. And that's part of the. Like, if I wasn't, like, unlocking things at a frequent pace, like, I don't know, man. Like, if I wasn't wanting to do a raid on Twitch, I probably would not play the game. Or I probably wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah.
Like, if Ashton didn't want to do it on Twitch, I probably wouldn't have gotten the game. But I'm not saying that it's a terrible game, because I do
Yes.
think it is a huge improvement on the first game. It's like if you got the Taken King on the first go.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty good for what it is.
Okay.
And a pretty good level progression. So I like it.
Because I don't plan on getting it anytime soon.
Yeah, I would. For you, I think you would really like it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things to do in it. There's a lot of side missions, a lot of this kind of that. But yeah, I'd wait probably for the first DLC pack and go for it.
Alright.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing.
What about you, Quinn? What are you playing?
All right, so
List all those games.
I've been a little slow on playing games as of late, just
That's fine.
because I
What
play.
you into?
You have 3 here, don't you?
No, it's
No,
just
you have
two.
2. Yeah, it's
Games.
2, that's
I
fine.
normally. I've been playing a lot of games that are just like the require attention, competitive games, I guess, rather than story-based games. But I've been
That's
trying
fine.
to play some story-based games because my collection keeps building, and I haven't played them, so I want to beat them. So the first game I got was Sigma Star Saga for the Game Boy Advance, and that game is made by WayForward, which makes Shantae and a few other games. They're like an indie company. A reason I got it is because typically I think physical copies of their games are a little rare, especially the original Shantae on Game Boy Color. I don't remember what
I
it's
have
for.
no idea.
That game is like $80 or $90 for a Game Boy game.
A physical copy?
Yeah. Well, because they didn't have digital.
Oh, that's
well,
right. Digital. was
well,
the
they
thing
do
back
have
then.
digital now,
Now,
but when
yeah.
that game came out at the time, that was the only way to get that game. And so I wasn't sure how rare this game would be for Game Boy Advance or whatever. I just saw it at like $15-20, and I was like, well, I like WayForward, so might as well.
Side note, her name is Failsafe. I knew it started with an F. Anyway,
Fail-safe.
I told you I'd interrupt you through it, but I just want to make sure.
And
Fail-safe
so
on
the
time.
game is actually kind of interesting. I didn't look. Normally, I look up videos before I purchase the game, but I was like, might as well check it out. So what it is it's split up into 2 sections. The one section is like a side-scrolling space shooter, sort of like, I don't know. I don't know exactly.
Isn't
I don't know
Gradius
which
like
one
that?
is it, because I know there's a lot that is
It's like a top-down.
Isn't
almost like
Gradius
Astro-
sideways and you shoot?
If that's sideways and you shoot, then that's the perfect example. Because otherwise, I would say like the closest thing is like Asteroid or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
but
Asteroid's like, holy
yeah.
crap, that moth is huge.
Is it outside?
Yeah, it's
Okay, good.
outside, but it's
Um,
like the size of a $50. Good lord. Anyway, go ahead.
it was Mothra. But anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
But if Gradius is side scroller, that's the closest thing. And then it's split into a more overhead, top down RPG style. And then you can interact with characters that way, and then you can also battle enemies with that. You get like a little ray gun. And
You're saying this is a Game Boy Advance game?
yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
there's
a
like
lot to
diff-
different mechanics.
yeah, and it has different endings too, supposedly. And I guess I don't know if you get dialogue options. I'm not that far into these games. But what you can navigate, it's like an explorable galaxy, and you navigate planets, I guess. And I'm on the first planet right now, and you are able to get parts to upgrade your ship, so you can change how it shoots, like if you want it to have an S shot or the power of the blast, and like if you do the certain missiles, and also you fly different ships, you can have like a fighter, or you can have like a cargo ship, and you can have
What?
you can have a cargo ship, and then you can have
You are
huge.
so distracted.
It is
by
so
this thing.
freaking huge.
Do I need to close the blinds for you?
No.
Alright.
And I don't know what the others are, but you
I
get
didn't know it was going to distract him. I was just kind of like...
those
no.
upgradable parts. So it's really cool that it's split up into those 2 things. And the story, it's all right so far. It's pretty.
It's okay.
It's pretty cliche. It's very.
I mean, it's a Game Boy Advance
It
game,
seems
you know what I
like it's very. I feel like it might be on purpose. Well, it probably is on purpose. It's inspired by like 80s plot. It's like in the year 225, the world was working perfectly until alien invaders came by and attacked. The humans weren't
one
ready,
does, yeah.
but we survived and pursued onwards. With the little information we got from that attack, we built up our technology and our defenses in case they ever came back. And then that's when the story starts, because they came back.
Not any of that action scene is like you just. Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, but
And, you're like ex-rogue military cop guy who follows his own thing. It's like total
Yeah.
like 80s sort of stupid plot. So yeah, and you can get hook up with alien chicks and stuff. So
nice. It's right up your alley.
No, you're the one sitting over here getting all giggly about hooking
Mine
up
was
with-
Elizabeth, who is a human being. So I just want to go on record there. It was not Tally.
and the other game,
I mean, I don't know how that works.
the other game I'm
She explains
really
it, so.
excited to play is I've been meaning to get this for a while. There's a lot of chances where I can buy something online because I have the money, but a lot of times I like to wait till I see it in store just because I guess it feels more
It's more
personal.
fun.
Yeah, it's more fun, more
Yeah.
personal, and it gives me more like, oh, this is cool, it's here, or whatever, rather than just like, well, this is
Click.
online.
Well, also, yeah, I mean, online games can go for a lot more money. Like, Medal of Honor Frontline was going for like $35, $40 as a PlayStation 2 game.
Online?
And I bought it for $4.
Really?
So-
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
Pink
a
Gorilla
big
at
difference.
PAX.
Holy
Was
cow.
that for used? Or,
Yeah,
like,
I
new
think so. I
seal?
don't know. Whatever Amazon was having it, and I was not having it. So it's like, I'm not going to
Weird.
buy it here.
So the game is Radiant Historia, and have either of you guys played Chrono Trigger before?
No.
Okay,
I know
well,
of
I've
it. though.
played Chrono Trigger, but like,
Beaten
because
it?
it's on NES Classic.
It's a Super
No,
Nintendo.
no, it's not.
It's a
No,
Super
it's not.
Nintendo
That's
game.
right.
Nintendo
No.
game.
I think it's on the SNES class. Is it on the SNES?
It's
It-
a very, very.
I must-
I
I know
don't think
Secret.
it's
I know.
on it,
I think
but
Secret
know
of
it's on-
Mana. Secret of Mana is on the NES
okay.
Classic.
I
It's
like that
coming
game.
out.
That's a fun game.
And I think Chrono Trigger is on. It's a Square Enix game, so
but
it's not tied up in any sort of like legal mumbo jumbo unless Square doesn't want them to put it on it. But
Yeah.
or not Square Enix. It's a Square Soft game. Sorry.
I played that game.
Well, Final Fantasy made it on the NES.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Anyway.
I played the DS version of the game, and the game is really cool. It's really fun. You travel. Okay, so I played Chrono Trigger. I'm talking about Chrono Trigger right now. I played that on the DS version of the game, and it's about traveling through time to stop the end of the world and stuff, and blah blah blah. And it has one really good music. Of course, a lot of people got really excited because it's a collaboration between Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball Z, and Final Fantasy. So them having their two minds mashed together to make an RPG, everybody was like, "Ooh, that's really cool." And the game is pretty good, although like one thing that I just gotta say now is like since I played it after playing a lot more recent RPGs, it felt more standard now. I still think it's a really good game, but that only makes me think like if I had played it when it had come out in comparison to all the other RPGs, this was like groundbreaking. It was
Sometimes you have to put your mind in the perspective of how this game impacted back then versus now.
Well, and how it was designed and stuff like that. I mean, even when you go back and look at, Mario was designed on graph paper. It's like you have to like think about these RPGs are running on probably a literal grid, and they're just moving back and forth and trying to figure out.
But it's really cool. You can go throughout time at any point in time. There's the future, there's the past, there's the current, and there's a few other times. And I think it might... Oh, I don't want to spoil it. It's not too big, but it's a pretty good game for the time that it came out. I would highly recommend anyone who likes RPGs to play it. The other... So the...
What?
Nothing. Let's go ahead.
The game that I'm playing currently is Radiant Historia, which a lot of people say is sort of like inspired by Chrono Trigger because it's another game that has to do with like time travel things, and you get this item called it's the Historia or whatever. It's supposed to be the history of the world essentially, and there's these checkpoints in the game that you reach that you can revert back to, and that's where there's the split paths or whatever, and there's supposed to be a whole bunch of different endings based off of what you choose. Like right now, I'm still in the prologue, which is really weird, and I've already made a choice because I can either stay with like this guild or I can join the army or something like that. And by staying with the guild, my logic was the guild guy in the beginning, you're supposed to die or whatever, but you get the Historia and you revert time and survive the mission. And if I remember correctly, the guild guy was sort of setting you up to die because I don't know why. It's probably something they explain.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll stay with the guild guy because if I can stay closer to someone that is my enemy, then I'll have like a better chance. Well, it's a little bit of risky, high risk, high reward situation I place myself in. But if I go with the army, then I'm distancing myself away from the guy that was trying to kill me. So, and I won't have a chance to like get revenge or find out why. So I was like, I'm gonna go with that. And at any point, I believe, so long as you hit like you get to the node where a change in time or destiny would occur, you can go back to that point. And I don't know exactly how it pans off. Like if your party members die, you can revert time or you continue forward in the timeline where they're dead or whatever. So I think it's a really interesting concept right now. The combat's really fun because you have this grid and you can push enemies into other enemies into the same grid that they're attacking. And then when you attack, you're hitting both enemies if your enemies follow up on them. And the music in typical, like, I'm pretty sure it's Square Enix that made the game, is... I can't remember the person that does the Final Fantasy music right now because so many Japanese names. But
Yeah.
you know, they do Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts.
Just they're the composer.
The
guys.
repertoire of
Yeah.
games.
I normally know their name, but I can't remember right now. I'm pretty sure it's composed by them. The music is really, really, really good for a DS game. It's just... You got like it's obviously not like true live instruments or anything, but you can tell that it's supposed to be like percussion and stuff like that. And it's just even standard battles was like freaking awesome. And then I did my first like boss fight and it was just like a thief guy, but the music, it played the boss battle theme just for that one battle. Wow. It was so cool. Even though it was such a basic battle though, because you don't have any other party members at that point, and it was just you and this thief, and it's just tacking back and forth because you can't knock him into other people because it's just him. So it's just like bam, 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 bam. And I was just like, this music's pretty cool though. So, which is a really big part of like RPGs back then because they were so well. I don't mean like DS era, but for a lot of older RPGs and older games in general, why they had to have such strong music is because of how simple the games were. They like Mega Man, I don't think a lot of people would remember as well if it weren't for how good the songs were in the original Mega Man games. Yeah. Because I mean,
I know the soundtrack, even though I've never really played
exactly,
Mega Man,
and it's really iconic. And Mega Man doesn't change a lot and mechanically in a lot of his games because he has 10 now in the originally 8, and for the longest time up to like through 6, the most he gained was like a charge shot and a slide, and then just the new power-ups from the Robot Masters. And the rest of the stuff was pretty much the same except for the music. Same thing about Mario. Mario has like really iconic songs, but most of the time it's just a side-scrolling platformer.
So mainly you've been dabbling in the GBA in 2017.
Yeah, because I'm a handheld person. You know?
Yes,
So,
no, I get it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, when are you getting the Switch, man?
I've been waiting to get it.
It's weird.
Some of
that
the games
we're
I was hyped
backstocking
for-
right now.
Yeah.
It really
Oh
is
yeah, I
weird.
see.
Yeah, I
see them
keep
in the
seeing it.
cabinet
It's
now.
really
Well,
weird.
it's everyone's waiting for the SNES Classic and the NES Classic and stuff.
So I'll probably get a Switch sometime soon, probably maybe 2018 or something.
Yeah, I mean by then you'll have Zelda, you'll have Mario, you'll have Pokken, you'll have
You'll have a lot
pretty
more of
much
the
all the
games.
big 2017 games and all those indie games.
Yeah.
What about you, David? What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Well,
Wrapping us up here.
I've been real busy on my PlayStation 4.
I've heard.
A month ago, I took a break from Persona 5 because a friend let me borrow a game that I had been waiting for years and years and years to play. I had it pre-ordered, paid for, good to go, and then my PlayStation 3 died, and I haven't had the opportunity to play it. A friend let me borrow it, so I had to put Persona 5 on hold and play it so I can get it back to him, and I finally got through The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh my god, so good.
I've still never played it.
So I'm not spoiling anything
Yeah.
for you, but like that game is. I'm not gonna go into details about, it, but like just, the mechanics are so good. Like you feel there's just there's just enough ammo to like survive and resources to survive, and you always feel like you don't have enough. But
Yeah, I remember when
it's-
like that game
the
was
story.
talked about.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Christian about that when Game Crazy was still existing.
Yeah.
Like I remember I remember the moment. Like I turned around and we looked at the screen and I'm like, "That's the game, man. That's gonna be so cool." And he's like, "What does it do?" I'm like, "Dude, when you get shot, you bandage yourself up and you have that bandage forever." And I'm like, "That's cool." And like, well, he's like, "That's cool, man." And then he got it. Then he played it before I got to play it. So I was like, "Oh, that sucks," but
Yeah,
whatever.
I really enjoy the game. There were some twists in that game that I did not see coming, especially that ending. So good.
Yeah, I've seen the alternate ending to that, but I don't know what it means.
I won't go any further into it because I don't want to ruin it for you because I know it is one you really do want to play, and
I wanted to play it on
I
an
wanna-
episode.
We can still do it.
Yeah.
We can still do it. After that, I went in and I played my Final Fantasy 12 remaster.
Turbo speed.
I literally burned through.
Yeah, can you change the speed in that?
Yeah, in that game
Yeah.
you can play it at 2 times speed or 4 times speed, and because it's my favorite Final Fantasy game, single player Final Fantasy game. 11 is technically my favorite, but it's an MMO. That's a whole other debate. But it's my favorite single player Final Fantasy game because the story is so good, and the story is not the main protagonist. Vaughn is not the main character in the story. He is not the main character. The story revolves around the character Ash. Her right there. I know you can't see her on camera, but I have the miniature Play Arts Kai figure of her.
Not the goblin creature.
No.
That's what I was okay. I was like, all right.
I mean, goblins are cool too.
I was like, that's quite an interesting Final Fantasy.
She is the main character of the story. The story revolves around her. And Vaughn and Penelo are just friends that just happen upon her and going along on this amazing story of ruling of this kingdom caught in the middle of a war, and somebody's trying to overthrow them. I really do enjoy the story, and I really enjoy the soundtrack. The combat is also some of my favorite. I know it's really decisive, and a lot of people don't like it, and I understand why. But I really did like the gambit system. When you like master and understand how the gambit system works, and because basically the way it works is you get like you unlock these slots that you give your characters in your party to play because you don't play them, the AI does, but you tell them what to do. So it's like, hey, if a character has less than 80% health, cast Cure on them. If a character is blinded, cast Blindness on them. If you're not doing any of those supporting jobs, target party leaders, target and attack, or if target is weak to fire, cast fire. And if you set those up like just right, and you know how to work it like I do, I put that game on 4 times mode, 4 times speed, and just plowed through it.
Nice.
And it was very satisfying. The boss fights I did in real time. I didn't go off and do any of the.
You're just main questing it.
I just did the main quest, yeah, because there's this whole trove. What were they called? I can't remember. There's this whole bounty hunter thing where you can go out and find like rare creatures and big bosses, and these like bosses that like your gambit systems have to be individualized on point for these bosses, or you have to go through and play it in old turn-based style where it's like, all right, he's doing a thing, stop the time, what's he doing, all right, I gotta switch to this character to start casting this thing from it. And those bosses near the end are ridiculously hard, and I didn't go through them on the remaster. I did go through all of them on the original PlayStation 2 launch, and those bosses took hours to beat, like hours.
And the reason why you didn't want to spend hours on it is because you've been playing another game though.
Yeah, I picked up a game on sale while it was on sale because it's one of the games that it was one of the reasons why I bought a PlayStation 4.
It was
'cause I
your
really
early
wanted-
PS4 bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you were going through all of like
I
what
was
you
going
wanted
through,
to play.
yeah, and I had gotten to the point to where other than not finishing Persona 5, because that ever since I got The Last of Us, that's kind of been on hold. And I'm going to go back to it after I finish this particular game when I'm done with it. But this one was on the list, and oh my god, I love this game. You have no idea how much I love this game. It is so good. It's so unique. It is Nier Automata, and it is a pure gem of a game. I really, really want you guys to play it at some point.
I was planning to anyway. So.
It's just so unique. It's not perfect, but it's so unique and it's so interesting, and there's so much depth to the story, to the world, and to the and somewhat to the combat. The combat system can get broken easily because it uses a chip system, and you can get chips that can, like, when you don't take damage for 6 seconds, you'll heal over time. When you kill an enemy, you get 10% health back. When you deal damage, you'll heal for 15% of that damage. If you put those chips in, the game, you basically can't die. That's
Interesting. So they're like skulls in Halo.
Yeah, kind of, except your chips are literally what your character can do. Like, if you want to do a certain ability, you have to insert a chip, but you can only put in 128 chips. You only have 128 slots for a chip, but chips can take up multiple slots. So it's like, if I want to have 60% less damage taken from melee attacks, that could be a 21 slot. So 21 slots of that 128 will be taken up by that.
So it's a little bit
by a
inventory
chunk.
management
How
kind of
much?
stuff.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 358 did you play?
358.
Because it had
like I
something
said,
like
2
that.
did. And I was, again, wisdom teeth taken out, so I'm a little bit
Because
like,
it had something like that where it
dazed
lets you
and
double jump, or you could input something
Yeah,
that lets you glide, or
the
something
thing is,
like that.
the thing with this game is if you want to be able to attack, if you want to see your health bar, if you want to see your XP bar, if you want to be able to just do basic functions, you have to have a chip in for it. If you take that chip out, you don't see your health bar. You can't even see.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
There's an OS chip in it. You take out the OS chip, you are killing yourself because you're playing as an Android. You just removed your operating system. And so your character just dies.
So you haven't beaten it yet, though.
There are 26 endings to the game.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 main endings to get the full story. The rest of them are just kind of fail throwaway endings. I've gotten a couple of those by accident.
Now you're not. Are you restarting, or are you just going back to a save point and going?
So the way this game works is,
if you could quickly do it,
I'll do it quickly to not to spoil things. Okay. So there's the first 4. There's the first 4 endings are just kind of back to back. So the first 3, I should say, that you get. Okay. So there's A ending, B ending, and then on your third playthrough, you can either get the C or the D ending. Okay. But your first 2 is always A. Your second one is always B. And then C and D literally comes down to a choice that you make. Now, I haven't finished my third playthrough, so I haven't made that choice yet.
So you do have to start over?
So here's how it works. Your first playthrough, you play as 2B, which is the girl character.
Okay.
Your second playthrough, she has a partner in that game called 9S.
Yeah.
Your second playthrough, you play that same story, but you play as 9S. And there are parts in that story.
So the game knows you've beaten it one time?
Yes.
That is so weird.
No, there's so many fourth wall and super meta things about this game. And so when you go to do New Game Plus, you are thrown in as 2B. And you do, because there are moments in the game where you are in your first playthrough, there are moments where you're by yourself and 9S is off doing his own thing. Well, in your second playthrough, you're 9S off doing those own things. Or in boss fights, 9S will go off and do his own little thing to help you with the boss fight.
Yeah.
So in those boss fights, he'll do those same boss fights, but you're doing 9S's part. He'll be over here, 9B's over here.
Wow.
That's
pretty
why
cool.
I'm telling you, this game is so awesome. And then your third playthrough, okay, when you finish your second playthrough with 9S, you get those two, that story, because you get both sides of that story. Because there's certain things 2B learns, and there's certain things 9S learns, but they don't tell each other. and especially there's a bomb dropped on the end of 9S that I'm not going to spoil. But after you beat it with 9S, your third play, when you start your new game plus, that game takes place. You don't start from where you started with those two. That game starts at the end of their ending those two playthroughs.
So you essentially have you have two games
Yes.
in one.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm telling you, this game is
So when you beat
fantastic.
it twice, you unlock a game. You unlock a new
unlock
game.
basically the rest of the story.
You unlock two. You unlock
Yeah.
near two.
And I'm not to spoil anything. The majority of that third playthrough is not as 9S or 2B.
Wow.
It's
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And then at the end of that, there's a decision that will either let you say you get the C ending or the D ending, and then there's also the E ending. But I don't want to get the E ending not yet, because it does a thing that I don't want to have happen yet.
Okay.
But after those 4 endings, I've gotten 3 accidental endings, and most of those accidental endings are like, the game wants you to go, like, emergency has happened and there's something up here, you got to go to it right away. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do the side quest first. 9S abandoned his objective, and then roll credits, load screen, you're back to where you were.
Okay.
And one of the endings is on your very first playthrough, because this is just a basic one. On your very first playthrough, when you get control of 2B for the very first time, just pull the operating chip out, your operating system chip out, and that'll get you an ending right there.
So did you looked these all up? Though.
After my second playthrough, because I knew the game in terms of the endings were gonna get a lot different.
You wanted
for
to
the
know
third.
the gist, not the full.
I didn't really go for. I tried to do as spoiler free as I could, because I wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's and the gameplay mechanics in it are it's a hack and slash third person shooter,
Platformer. I've seen some sort of
platformer, mini hacking, mini game, top down shooter, 2D platformer shooter, 2D platformer.
Yeah.
It does so many different things, and it does it well. I can't really think of any other negatives unless I want to be super nitpicky. Mm-hmm. The only negatives really I have to say about it is, one, if you use those healing chips, you can't die. Like, there's even a chip you can put in to where if your health goes below 30%, you'll automatically use a consumable. So like, I went through the second play. I have only died twice in that game, and they were just accidents. They were literally just accidents. They do sort of a Dark Souls thing where if you die, like in Dark Souls, when you die, your soul sit there.
And you got to go back and get it.
Yeah. When you die, all your chips are gone. All your chips that you have accumulated throughout the entire game.
So you have to go back and go get them.
Yeah, and if you die getting back to them, you lose all those chips.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Nier
quite...
Automata.
Yeah.
Automata, sorry. Play it. Seriously, play it. It is a gem. Like your first playthrough.
Yeah. We gotta.
Yeah, no, I'll wrap it up. My first playthrough was about 23 hours. My second playthrough was about 8. 2B's part or 9S's part is kind of short, and I haven't finished my third yet. But I really want you guys to play it. Anybody who is super into games, this is just a game that it's just one of the games you got to check off that you played. It is an experience, and the sound. I think you would love it just for the soundtrack.
There you go.
It's so good.
Well, I already liked original Nier soundtrack because
Yeah.
that's made by the guy who did Golden Sun, I think, and I love Golden Sun's music.
It's so good.
Which
But I'll
he
wrap
also
it up.
does Dark
I
Souls
could-
music too.
Yeah, I could talk about Nier for days. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really glad I picked it up. So good. It is the first game that I've played where after I beat it, I immediately wanted to jump back into it.
That's good.
I can't say that about Horizon. I beat it and I'm like, yep, I'm good to go. Last of Us, same thing. Uncharted 4.
Last of Us is
I know.
a one-time
Yeah,
play.
it is
Yeah.
a one-time thing. But
For me, it was like the only game I've ever gone back and replayed over a couple times is Bioshock
Pokemon.
Infinite.
Yeah.
Well, I've never
Oh.
even
Not even
Pokemon.
Pokemon?
I just keep going on Pokemon.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
really-
that's right. Why would you want to restart? your
Yeah,
game?
because I lose all my
like,
Pokemon.
like after this, I want to play a replay of a boss fight I did on it, just so you can see how like ridiculous
Yeah.
this is.
Well, isn't there like, what do they call it? Bullet hells? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you got the dodge the thing.
You'll
I
see.
played the demo of it somewhere. I can't
Yeah.
remember where. I think it played at PAX or something like that. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. It is a long one, as it was. I guess we're just a 2-hour long podcast. We just can't contain
we
it.
just can't. We'll figure it out
Um,
someday.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of episode 3. Or part 3 of episode 10. There's so many parts and bits and things like that.
Bitcade.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been...
Bitcade? Is that what we're going for?
Bitcade.
Are we playing it on your thing? Okay. When I do this,
Bitcade.
that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Well, there was a little octave change there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been
Bitcade.
and this has been episode 10. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Our social media links are down below. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Primal Target. We're also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Primal_Target, and we're on Twitter @Primal_Target. Thank you, David. Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you, David. And thank you, Quinn.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay. Make sure you definitely check out the other things that are here on the channel. There are Let's Plays that are going to be happening like a lot more. We're going to bring over the Twitch streams over here because they're going to be more frequently, hopefully, eventually. And so make sure you go check us out live on Twitch so you guys can be in the chat. And then later, you can tell your friends, hey, guess what? Go check this out. I said something funny in their chat. Believe me, I've heard it all, so don't try to think that you can stump me on it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe to us right here on YouTube. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Good night, everybody.
Good night, or good morning, or good day.
Yeah.
Good life.